Happy New Year's, everybody. There goes the $6 million man. And I am Tom Connors. We're Robless tonight, at least unless he shows up early, but I doubt he will. With us, as always, is Mecha Random 42. How you doing, Mecha Random?
I'm good. Either I am losing my hearing or you're quiet.
It could be both.
Okay. Well, I am very sick still, so I say
Here's-
good in the I'm like
I was
emotionally
the
good.
microphone. Maybe that'll help. And with us, as always on Wednesdays, Mr. Annie Trekker himself. How you doing, good sir?
I'm hanging in there. I tell you, I am very glad that 2019 is done, gone, finito, and looking forward to a much better 2020.
That's right. Our first show of the year. 2020 is here, and Rob's not.
Of course not. You don't expect him to actually care, do you?
He might show up later, he said.
Yeah, he might if he gets back in time. He's at a party right now, so
Yeah, with his
He's
fancy
live.
comedian friends. I talked to him from there. So
Okay. Oh, how's
he went
everybody?
without me too.
What was that?
He went without me too.
You? Oh, well, yeah, you'd had to go halfway across the country.
That's true.
So so we were totally forgot that Rob had his party. We were waiting on Rob, and then I'm like, oh shit, and then so we're a little late. Sorry, guys. But it's the first day of the year. How would you expect? Would you expect anything less from us? I mean, seriously.
Well, you could make a new effort, new year, try to be on time.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's always something that gets in the way.
Effort's hard.
I don't like effort. Oh, and of course, Tom, just and anybody that's used to seeing me here on Wednesdays, my work schedule, and of course, change on Friday, and I don't know to what. So, we may have to adjust. I may have to be on a different night or a different time. But as soon as we know, I'll relay it to you. But I don't know anything yet.
Yeah, and if not, maybe we'll just push back since we didn't even start till 6:39. Maybe we'll push back the show a little later if he can't get back in time. We'll see. We'll work it out, guys, and we'll let you know. It also sounds like we may even start doing one show a week on Mecca's channel, right?
Yes. I can't hear anything, by the way, so if I'm muted.
I don't know why you're not
I
hearing
think you are going deaf, Mecca, because I can hear Tom just fine.
I can hear everything just fine. So.
Yeah, it's probably just congestion. Let me fiddle. Let me fiddle.
That or blow your nose, maybe that'll help.
Take that riding crop out of your ear. That might help.
Yeah,
that might help too.
Slept on it, that might have happened.
Use your safe word, Mecca. Use your safe word.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Okay, so some people I think are wondering what's in my picture. I even got a private message about it, so I'll make it bigger. This is from last night.
So
when
that's what you guys were doing last night
on Ryan. I was on with Ryan and a few other people on their stream, and I kept adding more and more people to the ride. So, we got Rose, Tico, Gizmo, Baby Yoda, Brie Larson, Jar Jar, R2 and C-3PO, Wookiee, and some chick. And she's got sand all over her, but you can't see it. But so she's proper.
Is there a theme to this? Because I'm not seeing a consistent theme other than most.
Tom's a pimp and he fly.
Star Wars?
Yeah, no, just craziness.
Okay.
Just look like all the memeable things from this year, like Rose Tico and Brie Larson, and
just like Tom in general. I think it fits me.
It does fit you, but I mean, you look very depressed.
I'm pimping it in Tatooine, man.
Yeah,
it's hard out here for a pimp and hot.
Now, do you put like hydraulics on a speeder, and if so, what does it do?
No, that's a speeder.
No, but I mean, if you put hydraulics on a speeder,
if you do, it just kind of bumps up and down.
Just say, and you got.
Is there? Now I gotta look for it. I was just thinking, you be blasting the Cantina band music, but like the gangster rap version. Is there one? There probably is. I know there will be.
I'm sure. You know what this is, folks? This is we don't have shit to talk about.
This was a slow news day. No, there was shit happening. I forgot what it.
Wow.
But we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, we kind of did a New Year's Eve stream, and we went and started talking about news instead of just everyday bullshit.
How long did you guys stream yesterday?
Like 4 hours. And then I was on with Rob for a couple hours. We didn't stream though. And then I went on with Pete for a couple hours.
Yeah, I jumped around a little bit.
there is a hip hop remix.
Of course there is.
Oh.
Disney.
I know, they probably do. You can't play it.
I'll keep it though. In my heart. Oh Lord! So did everybody have a good holiday? Did everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year? I slept most of the year so far.
Well, you know that what I've been going through this year. I'm just glad the year is over, and I'm hoping. I'm supposed to go back to work day after tomorrow, which I'm very nervous about. But at the same time, anything that feels like getting back to a normal life, I'm down with. So I am done with 2019 and let 2020. It'd be very difficult for 2020 to be any worse. I'm not going to say it couldn't be, because as soon as you say that, something really bad happens. But it would be difficult to make 2020 a worse year than 2019 was. Although I got to say, since we're reminiscing about the year, as far as nerddom,
Star Wars this year, though,
There's
no Star Wars at least this year.
Well, there will be once the Mandalorian comes back. It's in fall.
There's Star Wars. It's just not Star Wars that we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm not dreading that.
Right. Well, and that's the funny thing. It's like this year has been really weird in the nerd community because, like Rise of Skywalker, very divisive, but in a way I never would have predicted. And
like I said last night, it's more about we're actually arguing about the movie itself, and we're not bitching about JJ or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, some people are
the Raylos.
Okay, let me rephrase that. JJ's not out there calling us a bunch of basement dwelling man babies.
Right. No. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I
like the fact that we're fighting over whether or not a chunk of the star of the Death Star could survive a fall, rather than why the hell is everything about feminism? That's such a better argument to be having, because that's a good nerd argument, not a why are we talking about extremist politics when talking about Star Wars. That doesn't make sense. So and even though it's been a little divisive, I also think I'm glad that the SJW crowd for the most part hates what this movie is, because even if you don't like the movie, very few people deny that JJ tried to apologize for some of what happened in The Last Jedi. And I appreciate that they tried to do a course correction regardless of how successful they may have been. But also look at the surprises this year. I was not expecting The Mandalorian to be any good. I was not expecting The Joker to be, quite frankly, a front runner for best movie of the year. When I was the first person before, on this show, 2 weeks before Joker came out, I was talking about what a stupid idea it is to have a Joker movie. And here we are looking back on the year and going, holy crap, that was like the best movie of the year.
Yeah. I was the first one to say I don't care about the Joker. And then I started seeing the trailers. And then I'm like, oh, this could be interesting.
Yeah. The first couple of trailers were still kind of like, well, what are we getting here?
Yeah.
Right.
And I kept thinking, okay, Scorsese walked away, yet it looks like they're trying to make a Scorsese movie. What's the haps,
Well, I think that's what I liked it.
And it kind of was, but it was competent. So it was kind of like how Tarantino will take other people's, tones and genres and styles and make it his own. That was kind of what they did here in a way, almost.
But for me, like looking at the trailers, and I will say the trailers for Joker are not misleading at all, but
they don't really give you much.
Right, which is good. A movie should be able to surprise you. The fact that every single Terminator film has spoiled the big twist in the trailer is just stupid. Can you
imagine what it would have been like back in 1991 if we had went into Terminator 2 not knowing
that Schwarzenegger was the hero?
The hero, like it's set up to be in the movie,
right?
But it leaked out early,
which is so stupid because the entire first act of the movie, you believe that Arnold is showing up to kill the kid, unless you've seen any of the trailers, and that's
it's perfectly set up, even to where Robert Patrick, he picks the cop.
Right.
He sounds soft. He doesn't act like he's so hard-edged like Arnold, you know what I mean? Until he actually finally starts killing people. Yeah.
And little things like the camera angle when Robert Patrick first meets that cop, he obviously impales him, but they shot it at an angle to where it just looks like he punches him.
Exactly.
And that, yeah, just beautifully done. But unfortunately, yeah, then the big reveal is like, oh yeah, that was in the trailer. But what I was to say about the Joker is like going into it, I thought, you know, like when Mecca was saying she was intrigued by the trailers, I looked at the trailers and said, yeah, it looks like it's a very well-made movie, but it doesn't look like the Joker. It just looks like a very well-made movie about some poor guy that was a clown and was picked on a lot.
It still kind of is, but there is a few Joker-isms in there.
Well, what gets you, or at least for me, is that, and some people bitched about it in the movie, but the last 10 minutes is pure comic book Joker. And the thing is, to me, that was such a perfect setup, because even right up until it happened, I was sitting there thinking, well, this is really good, but it's still not the Joker.
Yeah, the only thing I could have done without is the Waynes dying. They really didn't need.
Yeah, the Waynes thing was yeah. We've seen the Waynes die how many times in film? I think we can.
You already kind of assume it's going to happen, and I just hate that they had to find some roundabout way to tie it into the Joker.
At least the guy that killed him, you know, it could have been worse. You could have heard, like in the distance, "Have you ever danced with the devil by the pool?"
I was before you came on the show, Annie Trekker. That's exactly how I said this movie was going to end after the first trailer. I said, you watch. This is how this movie's going to end. At the end of this movie, you're going to see the Waynes walk down an alleyway after going to a movie, and the Joker's going to walk past them. It's going to go black. You're going to hear gunshots, and you're going to hear screams, and then you're going to hear and then credits.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's like, oh, no, they won't do that. That's stupid. But they damn near did.
Yeah, they came close. But at least it was not Joker himself. So
no, I will give him that. And the only problem I had with it, and that's it, really, is the only problem I had with it is that it had to have something to do with the Joker. You could have left it out. You did not need it in here. Everybody kind of knows what's going to happen. If not, it leaves that ominous thing for, okay, when is it going to happen? And you don't have to have it in the movie. You know, you could save it for something else or not at all, you know. But anyway, Tim Riggs sent us a $2 super chat. I don't have my sound effects up here. I better get them up. Disney and JJ knew the crap that The Rise of Skywalker was. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it now, with all the reshoots, the rewrites, all the bullshit that we've come to learn is true, that we've reported for the past God knows how many months, that everybody called us, you know, liars, fake news, and all that bullshit. Yeah.
But you know, the thing is though, and where I guess I think some of the division is among those that thought, nobody is sitting there saying it was a great movie. Well, there's a couple of people, but I think there's.
Yeah, I would say it's in the top. I mean, at least my top 3 of the year.
Right. But yeah, nobody's out there saying this is an awesome, great movie. But what a lot of us see, and especially, and I think the reshoots and everything and all that plays into this, is that, man, JJ had an impossible task. If you look at the mess that was The Last Jedi.
Oh, you're talking about The Last Jedi, yeah.
How do you make a cohesive ending to a trilogy when the trilogy really ended with the last movie and ended with the wrong side winning? You know,
well, and that's what Andre said from the start. That was one of the first things he brought up in his Last Jedi review, his formal review, was that this movie leaves nothing for the third film.
Right,
all ends are tied up. If anything, if this is the last movie, okay. You know, he pretty much got her all done and dicked. You know, the only thing left over is what happens to Rey and Ben. But guess what? Nobody really gives a shit at this point. That was the problem.
And so I think, you know, and I know, like, I had an argument with someone the other day about it, and they were saying, oh, well, I didn't like that Palpatine, it was obviously a desperate move to get a villain in there. I said, well, yeah, he was desperate. I mean, it was a desperate move because it was a desperate situation.
Yeah. Well, they like to say that it was always planned out that he was going to be in there. And no,
I know,
it
and
wasn't.
That's Hollywoodism. You know,
I found exactly where Ian McDermott said, oh, yeah, they called me up a year ago, and I was delighted. I had no idea they wanted me back, and they had no idea they wanted me back. And it's like, yeah, well, we know.
Yeah. But, you know, you could argue, and I would argue, that it might have been JJ's plan to have Rey be related to Palpatine all along.
Yes, I think it was.
We already got 2 conflicting stories on whose idea it was to bring Palpatine back anyway.
Right. But I rewatched.
I don't remember who else was. If it was Terrio or
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
It says her. She's taking credit.
Terrio said it, and I thought JJ said he came up with it, but I can't remember now.
Well, and I'll say, like I rewatched Force Awakens and The Last Jedi the 2 days before going to see Rise of Skywalker, and I'll tell you, you watch Force Awakens, and it is clear that that Rey was meant to go to the dark side. It is so clear, so obvious.
Well, Henry said that would have made the movie better anyway. In the many iterations I come up with, and other people have, most versions, it's like that makes logical sense.
Right. I think the only reason Rey did not go dark at the end of this movie was Kathleen Kennedy. I think that Kathleen Kennedy could probably put her foot down and say, "No, you can't have the girl be bad."
It kind of too late at the end of this movie. It would have had to happen at the last one. That's what I was.
No, I think it would have been perfect if I think the way that he set up with the Emperor. What if Rey had actually basically had Rey fail where Luke succeeded when the Emperor says, "Strike me down," and blah blah blah, you'll go to the dark side, and she does it, and then have Ben crawl out of the pit, and the final fight is her versus Ben. Now you have real tension because she's kicked Ben's ass, and now Ben has to stop her, and she's more powerful than ever. That's where I think that could have built a final battle to where you're trying to root for the good guy, but you're thinking there's no way in hell he can do this. But I could see that Kathleen Kennedy would say, hell no, you're not making my girl Star Wars hero into the bad guy.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. That's why this just solidifies further and further that The Last Jedi threw everything off track.
Yep. And Kathleen Kennedy does not deserve to run a studio. Kennedy, and that was the biggest. How do you even begin to set up a trilogy without at least having an outline of where it's going?
Okay, I wouldn't say she doesn't deserve to run a studio, but she sure as fuck should not be overseeing some franchise like Star Wars, obviously.
Well, that's the job of a studio runner. I mean, she is,
right. But my point is she's the wrong person for this said job.
Yeah,
I think she's the wrong person for any kind of creative position. I think she's
creative, yeah, but that just to be ahead of a studio doesn't mean you got to be creative. All that is you just take the credit for what everybody else does. I mean, the only reason Eisner was so great, in quotations, you want to know why Eisner was so great? Is because he had other people underneath him working, people that we know now, like, what the hell's his name? One of the guys who made, a bunch of the guys who made DreamWorks and shit like that, all went up in Paramount and everything like that after him. And that's when he went downhill. God, I'm trying to think of his name.
Well, speaking of Eisner,
and Jeffrey Katzenberg and a few of those guys were working under Eisner all those years. That's why Katzenberg was the one who was more responsible for Little Mermaid and all that kind of crap.
Here we had some Eisner news about what he said about Rise of Skywalker.
What did he say?
Here, I linked it in the chat here.
Oh, because he was dead against them getting Marvel too. He did not want Disney to buy Marvel, but he was voted against by the board. Rosetta Allen sent us $5. Continue to be amazing and stay fandom menace with courage and love. You guys are truly amazing people filled with intelligence and compassion and grace. Well, thank you so much, Rosetta.
That's
we hope
nice of you.
Having a wonderful day as well. But yeah, Ovitz, that was the other one. Ovitz.
Although looking at her picture, it looks like she's a fan of Mecha more than you or me.
Yeah, she is. I believe she is a pretty big Mecha fan.
Yeah, because the picture looks like Mecha right there.
She's done paintings of Mecha and stuff.
Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah, we already got demonetized. I wonder.
Oh, of course. My video was monetized earlier. And
what the hell did we get demonetized for?
Oh, we were monetized
for people.
Somebody probably come in.
Anyway. What I was going to say though is think about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actually, you finally got the cha-ching working, huh?
Did.
So I know why nobody got notified, Tom. It was you had 2 streams go off in the middle of the night.
Yeah, last night when I was goofing around with this shit on stream. Yeah. I only hit stream twice instead of record.
I'm wondering if that's why because I didn't get any notifications out for my stream today, but I was streaming until 2 a.m.
Yeah, because you streamed 20 times yesterday, probably. Yeah. But anyway, Thomas Potts says Andy Trekker broke notification system. Does he know you are Tom? Yes. Do you know I'm Tom?
Yes, I know it's not Rob. I know it's Tom. I just had to ask when he was in my chat because I wasn't sure. I hate you, Thomas.
Well, and she points out Rosetta she didn't have to send us $5 for this, Rosetta. I have been a redheaded busty girl since I was little, and my hair is short. But thanks a lot, there, Annie Checker.
No, but I was gonna say about Schwarzenegger. I loved my favorite moment I've ever seen with him. He was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and Johnny was asking him why were his movies so incredibly successful. This was at the heyday of his career, and
I'm sexy fuck.
No, Arnold looked at it and said, "It certainly is not because I can act." And of course, everybody started laughing. And he said that he purposefully surrounds himself with the best people. And that's why his movies all have, you know, if you see a Schwarzenegger film, well, yeah, it's 80s, but it's not bad 80s, right? It's quality stuff for what it is. And it's because Arnold always insisted on surrounding himself with the best. And I think that's a studio head needs to do that as well. But Kathleen Kennedy, her problem is she thinks that's her. She thinks she is the best. And so therefore, you know, she's been held back by working under the thumb of Spielberg and stuff. No, you were doing your job and you were doing it well, but you were not being held back. You were doing a producer's job, and that's what you should be doing.
Ironically, I'm actually reading Arnold's book right now.
Oh, okay.
You know, another one of his big things is promotion. He will go anywhere to promote one of his movies. He feels like if he doesn't promote his movie, it will fail simply because of that. So, I mean, he's not full of himself or anything like that, but he worked really, really fucking hard to get where he's at.
He did.
I have a lot of respect for that man. I mean, I make fun of him a lot, but he's like one of my favorite actors.
Well, everybody makes fun of his voice, and
of course, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah,
and his acting abilities, and
but the thing
is as bad of an actor as some people give him credit for, but it's like it depends on the roles. You know,
I tell you, there's very few people over the age of 30 that don't have a favorite Schwarzenegger film.
Or even know who he is. My kid has never seen any of his films, but he knows who he is. Like, he knows Arnold Schwarzenegger by name. He knows like maybe 3 actors by name, 4 at most. And that's just because he watches a couple Fast and Furious movies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of them. So David Morris sent us £2 or not? Yeah, £2.
Yeah, £2.
A good 2020. Also, please unblock me, Mecca. What'd you do to get blocked by Mecca, David?
went all nuts on me and started attacking me on Twitter. You can tell him I'm not showing this. I know. We apologized. All right, I couldn't remember how to spell it too.
Okay, well, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Try to be nicer in the future.
Be nice to me in the future, damn it.
David, give me £100 and I guarantee I'll get Mecca to unblock you.
Yeah, there you go. I get people coming to me all the time asking me about people to get them unblocked. It's like, I don't really talk to those people. Because
the account doesn't exist. Also,
and I'll just since it's inevitably going to come up. So Naked Now says, "What's up with Mundane Matt having a beef with Mecca Random?" Well, Mundane Matt has this big freezer in his place, and he has it chock full of beef, but the beef is all dried out and nasty now, and so that's his beef.
There's beef.
He wants to buy more beef.
I like my burgers brown, not pink, and not charbroiled on the outside. Not like black on the outside. Charbroiled's good, but not like, don't burn them. Don't burn them on the outside. Brown through and through.
We got another super chat from our very, very, very good friend Captain Hare, $5.
Good to see you.
My super suit. I need it. The public is in danger.
You gotta read it right. You go, where is my
super suit? I need it. The public is in danger.
There you go.
The reference.
It's from it's Samuel
The
Jackson.
Incredibles.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh man, you would love that. Samuel L. Jackson is Frozone, and he's yelling that, and then you never see his wife, but you hear her off screen.
He's like, why do you need it?
Yeah. It is
the public is in danger.
Our marriage is in danger.
The first and only time you'll probably ever hear "woman" in a Disney movie, I think, because doesn't he go, "Where's my super suit, woman"?
Yeah.
Perfect Samuel style. Oh man. But one of the other big movies I saw this year, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Did you see it?
I have not seen that yet. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Let's see. What else did we get to see this year? Well, I think everybody saw Endgame. I know Mecca's become less and less enthralled with it as we go on. I watched it. I actually kind of liked it a little better the second time around. I mean, it has its flaws. Is it nearly as good as Infinity War? No. Is it in the top 5? Possibly. Maybe top 10 at least. I don't know. What are you thinking, Andy Trekker?
Well, as a person who is a comic book nerd, and particularly a Marvel comic book nerd, Endgame is the movie that if even 10 years ago you said they were going to make a movie like that, I'd say, based on the Infinity Gauntlet story, I would say not even possible. Right? No, never going to happen. You're never going to get a cast that big. You're never going to get that many heroes on screen at the same time, and you'll know what the hell's going on. And sure enough, they pulled off the whole on your left moment and hundreds of people on screen, and you knew who every one of them was. And you didn't need them to sit there and explain everything to you. You were involved in it. I loved Endgame. I thought it was a fitting cap to the Thanos storyline. Yes, the yay, we're the She-Vengers was stupid. That was completely unnecessary. And if you cut that out from that final battle, it makes it a better movie. But and it's unfortunate that they did that. It's also unfortunate that they had to put in OP Captain Marvel. But at the same time, I got to say, I love the movie. I can't hate on it. I watched it at least 20 times since it came out on home video. And I love the whole Thanos storyline. I can't wait to see Galactus. I can't wait to see the Fantastic Four. I'm excited about the future of the MCU, even though what they have announced and stuff right now is kind of ho-hum. Like, do I really... I'm going to see Black Widow. I'm sure Black Widow is going to be good, but am I like, yes, Black Widow? No. It's just, it'll be, fun. Like I expect it to be on the same caliber as Ant-Man or something like that, where it's good. It's a good movie, but not what I'm excited about. So I am not turned off by the MCU yet. I know some people are, but I think that if they can stay the course, if they can avoid going for the SJW route like the Marvel comic book industry did, then the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a bright future.
All right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a really good way of putting it. So,
but that's a big if, because, it's very tempting to say that, with that She-Vengers moment with the introduction of Captain Marvel, does that mean Marvel's going all woke? And if they do, it'll be the death of the franchise, and it'll be a death that I will mourn, because holy crap, in 10 years, look at what they've accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I said, people are like, oh, Endgame doesn't deserve an Oscar. I'm like, no, maybe the movie itself, but it does deserve a Lord of the Rings Oscar. And they kind of look at it, I'm like, what I mean is, all the awards got given to Return of the King, even though that you could argue that isn't even the best movie of the series. But I mean, they waited till the final movie to give all the awards to it, kind of thing. And I feel like, Endgame's one of those movies where, give Robert Downey Jr. a nomination, give the movie a nomination, give it a lot of other nominations. It deserves it for all the things that the Marvel Universe has been able to pull together to this point. So it's more of an Oscar to honor the fact that Feige and crew were able to pull this whole thing together, as opposed to just, for this specific movie. Kind of like Return of the King, like I said. I still argue that's not the best of the Lord of the Rings films, but to me it's like the least.
Really? I love the Battle of Minas Tirith, though.
I love the battles, but it's like it's got 20 too many endings.
That is a problem.
My favorite bit of the story. My favorite part of the story is the middle. Like, I love the shit between Gollum and the whole like thing going on between them. That's like my favorite bits of the story. It's the most personal moments with characters and stuff like that. And some of the best character moments are in the second second half. So I always went with the second half. To me, Two Towers is as equal to Empire Strikes Back in a way to the trilogy, I guess. That's the way I feel about it, with the first film just being that much better than Return of the King. Return of the King is a huge, massive accomplishment, just like Return of the Jedi and Endgame.
Mhm.
But to me, it's like the thrill is gone. We've seen this, and especially when you got to make me go, can I go pee now by the third ending?
Yeah. They did really drag out the ending.
Yeah, but I want to say, just to go to this real quick. David Morris sent us another £2. Mecca, why would one of your members tell you to quit? Yeah, sounds like you guys are having a misunderstanding. Maybe take that up somewhere else than here. It'd be better to deal with David. We appreciate you being a member of Mecca's crew and on her what do you call it? The
join button thingy.
The join button thingy. They need a name for it. I don't have a name.
Yeah, it's it used to be sponsors, now it's channel members.
Channel sponsors, channel members. That's right. Thank you. Yeah. So
some of us don't get to have that. So
yeah, not yet. I know Andre's working on it on the main channel. So yeah, we're gonna move along here. We got another super chat. I keep forgetting to do the sound effects. Tim Riggs sent us a $5 super chat. I think he sent us one before. If not, it's another one from the time before that. I have absolutely no faith in Disney being able to make market appeal to men with any consistency. Disney always reverts to being anti-man brand. Yeah, it's really odd how, and again, to preface this, you can't really dump all of the entire Marvel universe on saying, well, Captain Marvel's proof that they're going woke.
Right. It's one movie out of 23.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
A-Force is going to be proof that they're going woke.
If they do, well, but that's the thing, is that here's the thing. A movie doesn't prove it. A pattern does, right? And so if we start seeing okay, so we had Captain Marvel, then we had Endgame, now we have Black Widow. So people are going to say, wait a minute, another female-led movie. But people have been clamoring for a Black Widow movie for 8 years. So quite frankly, I don't care. But what are we going to see moving forward into Phase 4 and beyond? Are we going to suddenly see all the guys be complete morons and all the women being the leaders in the Marvel Cinematic?
I don't think so.
Right. If we do, though, then those types of criticisms will become legit. And I will be the first person, even though because I love, like I said, I've been a Marvel fanboy since the late 70s. And so I would absolutely love to see, I want to see Fantastic Four versus Galactus more than anything else in the world. I want to see Doctor Doom basically take out everybody. I want to see all these iconic things happen. I want to see 10 years from now a Secret Wars movie every bit as epic as Endgame was. Can it happen? Yes. Will it happen only if they stay the course? If they go the woke direction, which is what Marvel Comics did, then the movies will fizzle out. And 10 years from now, we'll probably be thinking about what a shame it was that Marvel almost had a dynasty.
And Mark F. brings up Thor Love and Thunder. Well, and before I talk about Thor Love and Thunder, we can say this much at least. Between Endgame and the last Spider-Man movie, if they end it there, the worst thing that happened in the MCU to that point would have been Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So, you got that to look at. But now, Love and Thunder, I'm on the fence on that. It could be one of those really woke situations and really bad, but I kind of trust YTT. And I know he's a sassy bastard, but
when I see the title Love and Thunder, I smile because it sounds funny. It sounds like something after Ragnarok. It sounds like something that Taika Waititi would do. And I know people are freaking out about Jane Foster lifting the hammer, and because she did in the comics. Well, first of all, they're going to have to come up with a way that Thor has the hammer again, since it was returned to the past. But even if she does, if she holds the hammer for a minute and does, say she has a moment in the movie equivalent to Captain America's moment in Endgame with the hammer, I'm fine with that. If, however, they do literally pass the mantle of Thor to her, then yeah, I'll be like, well, I'm done with Thor.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're right. Again, we could both be wrong, but I'm kind of leaning towards you knowing YTT. Mm-hmm. It's going to be something in the film that everybody's going to make a big to-do about, and it's not really going to be that much of the movie.
Right.
It's either going to be one scene, one segment, or I said, it's probably going to be okay, they want to get married. Well, then Odin's going to show up and say, well, if you want to marry my son, you have to be worthy. So he'll you have to know what my son deals with on a daily basis and give her the powers of Thor for a day. I think it's going to be something like that. Or, there's a whole thing from the comics where she gets cancer or whatever. It may be where Thor finds a way to transfer his power to her to save her, and it might be just something near the end. So, yeah. And I guess Doctor Who is on right now, but yeah. So if you guys got to go out and watch Doctor Who, we understand. Mecca brought that up earlier too. So
yeah,
I could totally see it going that way, being it's something like it's in all the trailers, but it's like just one small segment of the movie, or it makes sense within the context of the movie. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because of how much I loved Thor Ragnarok.
And that's something that, and we have to be careful as the Phantom Menace is becoming a little more institutionalized, if you will. And we have to be careful when it comes to situations like this to not jump all over it and assume the worst when we don't really know. If Thor,
Taika has never really done anything that woke.
Right.
I name something he's done that was super, super woke. I mean, I haven't seen his new movie with the Hitler deal, but
I haven't seen it. But
I've heard
everything I've seen actually do. I've seen some of his old movies, and they are hilarious.
Well, and there's another example, the Hitler thing. I know somebody who saw it, and they said it's a lot better than they expected it to be, and the trailers are a little misleading. Hitler's only in like a little bit of it, like the character that's played by Taika Waititi.
And and let's not forget he was IG-11. And IG-11.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, he made us think you're going to go see this movie with a funny Hitler in it when it's only like a small portion of the film, kind of thing. So I have a feeling we'll get the same thing here. But Captain Harris sends us another $2. What if she picks up the hammer and it explodes?
That would be funny. That's another thing that I could see Taika Waititi with his weird sense of humor. I could see him doing something like that.
Mary asked, and we covered this before she came in, evidently, but in case somebody coming in didn't know. This morning when I was on Ryan's stream, Ryan Canals, I was goofing around with the picture you see here, right? Well, instead of hitting record stream, I hit actually stream to the channel accidentally twice. I was a little tipsy and stuff, so give me a break. It was New Year's Eve.
That was actually a picture taken of him celebrating New Year's.
Yeah, I was just picking up all kinds of people.
The reason he's so sad is because he was a designated driver, and you can see he didn't want to be, which is why.
Because that chick behind me, she is totally lit the fuck up. You can tell.
Yeah.
Nico's like so drunk, she's pissed. She's gonna shoot Bree.
She got the gun out because you said you were gonna have a drink.
Maybe that could be. You're right.
And she was like, "Oh hell no, you're driving us home."
That's right. She would do that, wouldn't she? And then of course the two kids up front, because that's the way you do it. You don't put them in the back in the seats. Fuck that. You got to get the best. And then Baby Yoda's sitting on Bree's lap, and he's sorry about that. But hey, and then Jar Jar, 3PO, and the rest of the gang. You need them all there.
Himself. He can choke a bitch if he needs to.
Yeah, and then you just need Gizmo just because. And I know that's illogical because it's in the daytime in the sunlight, but you just can't have Baby Yoda without Gizmo.
Well, yeah, and then if Bree tries to feed him after midnight, then Baby Yoda can,
force choke.
Yeah,
that's right. Don't make Yoda choke a bitch.
They fly now, and they fly now.
And they fly now. And if you go over here to Michael's, though, he's just got a Starbucks problem. But that's not.
God, they totally.
What are you doing on yours? Because does it say it on there? Can you read it? No, you can't.
So cute.
It's actually blended frogs, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's blended frog, a new Starbucks drink coming to a Starbucks near you.
He's so cute. And then Baby Yoda. I'm mad they didn't give us Baby Yoda for Christmas.
I do think that was Kathleen Kennedy's doing. I think she wanted everybody to be focused on the movie.
That bitch.
Because people are saying, "Oh, come on, everybody!" How come they didn't figure out that Baby Yoda was going to be so popular? I think they did. I just think Kathleen Kennedy didn't want that attention going away from Rey because she thinks that every girl's dream is to be Rey.
No, every girl's dream is to be mommy to Baby Yoda.
I know, but that's the thing.
Did I say with Kathleen Kennedy for trauma, like all those Raylers were trying to sue JJ?
I tell you, it's. And the sad thing is that you have these idiots out there threatening J.J. Abrams when Kathleen Kennedy is really the driving force behind everything that we can't stand about Star Wars right now.
Exactly.
I got a shirt coming in the mail.
Oh, you got the Baby Yoda shirt? Oh, that's cute. And Baby Groot.
I don't know why Stitch is in there, but okay. The dragon
thing.
Toothless or whatever his name is, yeah. But you need at least the top three there, you know. Baby Groot, Baby Yoda, Gizmo.
Somebody needs to and I mean somebody that's good with CGI animation needs to do a Baby Groot versus Baby Yoda animation, like an ultimate showdown of the two of them battling it out.
See, in Star Wars, and since Star Wars and
Guardians are both owned by Disney,
yeah, they could do it themselves for a special feature.
That would be so.
Do a holiday crossover. Why don't they do that? Do it for Disney Plus. Do like a crossover event with Baby Groot and Baby Yoda, and throw Goose the freaking cat in there for crying out loud.
Yeah, hire that guy who did the Chuck Jones version of Baby Yoda and do it in that style.
Do it in that art style, absolutely.
I mean, could you imagine how freaking awesome that could be?
And they have to have Porgs and Chewbacca in there too. Flying around the Millennium Falcon.
Oh no, we got it. Baby Yoda needs to eat a Porg whole.
Now you got Mega conflicted.
It'll be so cute and so disgusting at the same time, right?
Yeah, but it's bad Baby Yoda. Don't eat them.
It's one of those. It's like
scolding your cat for eating a bird. You can't really do it because.
Have you seen our ridiculously cute dog?
Yes.
The little one, the little Pomeranian. Sorry. We have the stupid cute dog that you cannot be mad at. And so like if Baby Yoda actually ate a Porg, that would be quite the conundrum for you, I think.
I think so.
It's like Schrodinger's cat, only worse. Matt G sent us $2, good friend of the channel. Harvey said he wants to attack Baby Yoda. LOL.
Yeah. You know what Harveys get? You know what Harveys get if they eat a Baby Yoda?
He might like it.
Don't eat bad. Don't eat Baby Yoda.
He probably likes it.
Probably.
Yeah, oh boy.
Harder next time. Tim Riggs sent us $2 again. Thank you so much, Tim Riggs. Baby Yoda barbecues a pork with force lightning.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And then Chewbacca could have a couple to eat because those poor Chewbacca got shamed out of eating meat.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny though. I mean, that was one of the best parts of that movie, though. I mean, that was one of the only times I remember really chuckling.
It was, I gotta say, it was a funny moment, but I think what would have been funnier is had Chewbacca, here's what the way I would have done that scene is, so you have Chewbacca sitting there with the roasted pork, getting ready to eat it, and then you see the other pork, looking at him with the big doe eyes and everything, and then back to Chewbacca looking at the pork and looking at him, and then back to the doe-eyed pork, and then you cut to a shot like a wider shot of Chewbacca just gnawing down on that porg, and you see two more porgs roasting over the fire.
You want to know what would have been better than that?
What's that?
Is if you have the same scene you just set up until near the end where they're giving them the baby eyes or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then he gives up, he throws the pork down on the ground, and then the rest of the porgs just devour it.
You find out the porg are cannibals.
I would probably laugh at that. That's terrible, but that's probably how they can make that better.
Crazy Jedi said it's $2. I know, I got a 6 sense of humor. Baby Yoda eats pork, Baby Wookiee eats Baby Yoda.
So yeah, we're gonna have to have a big Baby Wookiee in season 2.
We gotta put an Ewok in the middle there. It's the food chain on Star Wars. Okay, we've had enough.
Not like a turducken kind of thing, right? So
yeah, I think Mecca's going to start crying if we go much further.
A frog into a porg, into a Baby Yoda, into an Ewok, into a Wookiee. And
that's like a turducken right there, yeah. See, now Wookiees, I bet you they would eat their dead. It's probably.
Well, that was in Solo. How he was in the pit and he ripped the guy's arms off and he ate him alive. Like,
yeah, it's like Chewbacca eats people apparently, and that's news.
yeah,
You know,
he was just a cannibal and now he's the best friend with this dude because this dude speaks Wookiee. Okay, God, that movie sucked.
I know, and that's the thing about Solo that really bothers me is, yeah, TLJ is probably the worst movie, but they don't do anything that's worth a shit in that movie to make you like go, yeah, it was a good thing they made that. I hate how Solo gets his name Solo. I hate
brilliant.
No, that was fucking stupid. That was just stupid as stupid can be. And the whole thing with how he met Chewie and how they're best friends for life and the whole life debt thing worked out, that was dumb. And then how he just happens to know, how to speak Wookiee and shit like that. Whatever happened to him being like raised by Wookiees and shit. That's what everybody assumed, or I thought was in one of the old EU novels or something or other. But anyway,
Solo was not a bad movie. It was just.
Oh, it's a bad movie in my opinion.
I don't think that, I mean, I rewatched it the other day just because I had nothing to do. And
I've tried twice since I saw it in theater. Every time I get to that fucking scene with Lando and the damn robot, I check out. I cannot do it.
I don't. Yeah, Leet is to me the worst part of the movie. But my thing about Solo is that if you completely took the Star Wars branding out of that movie, then it would just be generic action sci-fi movie. There's nothing. It's not inherently bad. It's just there's nothing inherently good about it.
Competent, but that's probably just because Ron Howard threw the damn thing together.
Right.
I mean, it's so dry and brown and dreary, and there's no life to it. It's limp.
My big problem with it is just looking at it and saying, "This is Han Solo's origin, really?"
Right, and he makes the same exact character arc throughout the film that he does, basically from when we meet him in Star Wars till the end of the first.
He's not as bad at the beginning of this one as he was in Star Wars. In this one,
it's stupid. It makes no sense. He should be, even by the end of this film, he should be disgruntled. You can understand why he hates women or doesn't trust anybody now, and all this other shit. And why he's like such a sassafras to fucking Leia and shit. It made shit if you left him kind of grumpy and disgruntled and
right.
He just had to kill his boss and his best friend and all that kind of shit and and all that kind of crap, and you should have had like you should have even left it to where even Lando probably screwed him over a little bit, and stuff like that. All these little things that would have left him in a position where you can see, throughout the next few years how this guy would have turned into this scoundrel and this, this vagabond throughout, the galaxy, just being a pirate and worrying about himself, to where when he finally meets these other people, he realizes there's more out there than just his, petty bullshit. That's, the character arc he's supposed to have. But when you give him that arc already in the Solo film, it's pointless. So what's he doing in the beginning? What happened between then and there that made him that much more gruffer? I don't get that. But yeah, Tim Riggs sent us a $2 super chat from earlier. He said Disney Star Wars crossover with the Food Network. Yeah, I don't know.
See, this is why you needed that trilogy, because they had that one all planned out. And
well, that's the funny thing is, like, the reason that The Mandalorian is a good show and the sequel trilogy is a bad trilogy is because that they had that whole thing as far as him gathering the team together at the end in mind when they introduced those characters. So when Cara Dune shows up, it's like, yeah, she's going to be his muscle. When and as far as IG-11 being the nursemaid and all that, and they had that all figured out before they started filming it. And so having an actual roadmap makes a hell of a difference in the because you feel like you're going somewhere in The Mandalorian. You feel like this is leading to something, and then it ultimately pays off.
Well, there are a couple of little filler episodes too, though.
I'm not saying it's a perfect show, but I'll tell you,
I think people are prejudging it before seeing how the show plays out a little bit in this instance, because I think people are used to seeing we've got this binge thing in society now where they're used to seeing an entire season or entire complete show in one sitting, and I don't think people realize that there was probably a very long a long range plan for this show, I believe.
And
I'm sure you knew it was going to be big.
Yeah. My problem with The Mandalorian is the same problem that I have with The Expanse season 4 and almost every streaming service original program nowadays is I'm sick and tired of the producers of these shows being so damn lazy as to think that 8 to 10 episodes is a freaking season. All right. No, a season is 20 episodes minimum. And I'm sorry, there's, I'm sick of the lazy route of, oh, well, we're going to produce 8 hours of entertainment for you. And then, oh, wait till next year. We'll give you another 8.
There's an up and down side to that. I get where you're coming from. I'm used to also, growing up with 20, 24 episodes a season.
I like the British way of doing it. Well, but they gave you like quality over quantity, though. You would have like 6 to 13 usually, and with the British television shows.
But you see, I would go crazy there. I need, I need my 24 episode seasons. That's what I want.
I mean, certain shows I can understand, like comedies and stuff like that. It's easy, but when you got a show like I'm of the belief where it's like I don't care if it's 10 episodes or 20, as long as you give me a nice, decent story, and every episode is worth it. And Mandalorian's been one of those things where it's been worth it. I feel like they had the proper amount of episodes. I would have loved to have seen more, but for the money that's spent on this, I'm not going to gripe about the episodes I've gotten, and none have been horrible.
Right.
The worst of the episodes so far is like episode 1 and what was it? Episode 4, maybe, I think. Whatever one it was, the Seven Samurai ripoff. That was like, yeah, they went a little too far with that. But other than that, like the rest of the episodes have been really great, in my opinion. Now, is it like top 10 television? Oh no, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than some of the shit we've gotten out of Star Wars to this point, and it's also better than a lot of the other garbage out there. But now, like, look at stuff like Cobra Kai. I mean, they could have drugged that out to 20 some episodes a season, but I don't think it would have been as intense if they did. I really don't. I think that Cobra Kai, as much as I hate to say it, and I would love to have just more and more and more and more and more of it, works so well and perfectly into that little, 10 episode stretch of half-hour episodes, because you get a nice little 5-hour movie out of the deal. Because that's what I did the second season here. I super binged it in one night, like 5 hours straight. I couldn't stop. I stayed up all night watching it. It was just like, I'm not ending, and I miss not having to be able to, at least with the Mandalorian, they at least spread it out every week, even though we didn't get 20 episodes. But
I just think that the Mandalorian could benefit from a longer format. I do.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong,
especially since it's going weekly. Like I think they do that so that people feel like they can take it on in one day. 8 episodes, you get it all at once. Right. And I'm like, I have time for 1 episode. Give me 1 a week.
But and Tim pointed out in the chat, and it's 8 episodes, but it's not even 8 hours, because the episodes range from 25 to 45 minutes, right? And so you're really just getting a long movie.
It is kind of, and that's where I was saying with like Cobra Kai and some of these other ones, that's what they are. They're just basically long movies cut up into a series,
right?
Which I'm not totally against, because it does kind of up the ante for a show. It makes it feel cinematic. You get the right kind of actors, you get the right kind of values as far as production and special effects, and generally, hopefully, story. I mean, like I said, is Mandalorian Cobra Kai level? Oh, fuck no. But it's still pretty good. We got the super chat we got to catch up to here. Solo would have fit better in Firefly than Star Wars. And yeah, that's the problem I had with it too, is that it felt like something that was inspired by Star Wars more than actual Star Wars.
Yeah.
If it was, Jack Lunkwalker, a Star Wars story, I think people would have liked it a lot better. It's just that because it's Solo, it's like, this can't be Solo. That's the problem with Solo, is that it's like, no, that's not Solo. That's someone else.
That Solo I used to know. All right, we got another super chat. £5. We got a lot of people from over the pond hanging out with us today. Nothing wrong with that. Is there a chance they will make a Yuzan Vong series? At this point, anything's possible. If we're getting a Casio keyboard series, I mean, that's the way I look. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to it more than that, but
I'm not even. Who is Yuzan Vong? I don't even know.
I know the name. I'm trying to figure.
No idea.
It's like I'm quickly going to Google. Well, it looks like it's an EU character from Star Wars.
The thing is with EU characters is they'll use them, but that doesn't. It depends on.
Don't expect it to be the way you want it.
Exactly, yeah. Unless it's shown up already, unless it's somebody who's shown up already in like Clone Wars, which they've even kind of loosely ignored with a lot of other things already. So we'll see how that rolls. Darren Wagner sent us $5. I only want a 24-26 episode season if half of them aren't dogs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like you can do that, but you know, at what point do you I mean, because there's a lot of older shows too where I start tapping out after a while because third, fourth season it's just like you get just a little too overloaded with it.
I get that, but I'm telling you, I think that with Favreau's show running on The Mandalorian, I don't think that would have happened. I see, and I look at shows like The Expanse. Man, The Expanse had so much going on in there. They could have slowed it down a bit in season 4 because there's a lot to explore there that they didn't touch because they just didn't have time. And I think that having the luxury of 24 episodes, and you don't have to go to 24, but I'm saying 8, that's really little. Especially when some of those episodes are barely a half an hour long. And so I think that's pushing it too far in the other direction. By the way,
I totally disagree. But
yeah, one thing I do have to say for those of you, since your crowd is not the same crowd that I usually have on my streams. If you don't know Darren Wagner, he is a submariner. He was in the Navy on the T'Prang, a submarine. And I can't remember the class. And he has done some great videos on his channel comparing Starfleet to actual subservice. You should check it out. It's actually
I really enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, we need somebody like him actually working on these new ones. I always say they need a military advisor.
They do. And like one thing, but here's a cool thing that like from his recent videos, he was talking about the Enterprise refit in Star Trek the Motion Picture. And some people have actually bitched about, oh, come on, they completely rebuilt the ship just so it could be in the movies. But then he shows a submarine that was refit, and it's like, holy crap. They, the Enterprise refit is minor compared to what they did to this sub. So, and it's kind of cool the way that he comes at it from a very different perspective than most of us because he's lived it.
Well, maybe we'll have to have him on here soon.
Yeah.
Chief Cook, Tom, do you think The Mandalorian could have been better movie than Solo or Rise and Last Jedi? I think when like Mecca and others have brought up that a lot of elements of the show have probably been pulled from the Boba Fett series, I wouldn't be surprised. Even though Favreau claims it's something he came up with on his own, without any prompting or anything like that, and then he brought it to Star Wars or Lucasfilm. But at the same time, I don't know if it would have worked as well as a movie. I like that it's an episodic show. I like the old school Western feel of it, the Kung Fu / A-Team kind of feel to it. At the same time, we get this overarching story, and now without giving too much away, just where the child fits into the whole story arc, and the other people that we have met in these what we would consider probably bottle episodes. That was one reason why. I mean, I guess we haven't had a chance to review the last 2 episodes of the main channel, so I haven't had a chance to talk too much about it. But I feel like a lot of these quote unquote bottle episodes we've had to this point where we've met a lot of these other characters have been paying off in these last few episodes by bringing them in and making them more relevant. So they're not so much bottle episodes then. And we've gotten some building of the character here and there, or at least I would say some changing of the character, because when we first meet him, he's a pretty cold, hard-edged individual. And throughout this season, we've seen him grow into, caring about other people and, not just the child, but his friends that he's grown along the way. And the fact that he's kind of ostracized from his own, from being a bounty hunter, but he's still, this group of people that took him in when he was a little child, and like the child he has now that was an orphan. I love how it's all kind of tying together. And I know it has its set of critics, and there's a lot of people who dislike Baby Yoda for very good reason. I mean, it does throw a lot of wrenches into the whole idea of how a Jedi works, but I'm willing to give them a chance to explain it to me, just like I did, with The Force Awakens. I was willing to give, the next films to a chance to explain it to me, but Last Jedi just destroyed everything in its way.
I think that the funny thing about now, as far as to directly address the question, could it be a better movie than Solo or Rise? Solo, definitely yes. I think that the Solo tried to be a Western. Mandalorian is a Western, but I think that it's got a better home as a series. And I think that really what Disney should be looking at is for their new EU, things like the Mandalorian and stuff. Disney Plus is a great place to put that stuff. You can take your time, you can build up characters, you can build a real arc, and we really got to see, and they took it, and I'll say I was critical of the first episode because I was like, I don't know enough about the Mandalorian, but by the end of the 8th episode, I'm really into this guy. And so I really like what we've learned about him and how much we know him. Like we could predict his action in almost any scenario now. And that's beautifully done. That is character development. That is wonderfully done. And it's something that they couldn't, in a little 90-minute to 2-hour movie, you could not develop a character that much. And so I would rather see him as a series. Now, but you couldn't replace Rise of Skywalker with something like The Mandalorian, because you've got, I even though Rise of Skywalker was a hot mess, the movies should be these big event things, and they should revolve around the Skywalker clan, even though they're supposedly not going to moving forward. But we'll see. But I think that Star Wars in the films, quite frankly, I mean, look at the box office. And by the way, let me brag a little bit. I said between 150 and 175, and it made 177. So come on, give me some props.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've all been pretty close on our predictions. I mean,
but I think that Star Wars as a film franchise is really struggling, and and I think what Disney should do is not make a Star Wars movie for the next 5-10 years, but keep putting out stuff like The Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just stay away from the Casio keyboard shit. Let it die. I mean, it's not gonna. I don't think anybody's gonna want to see outside of that robot. I don't care. I really don't care.
And by the way, is there any truth to the rumors that they're doing a Rose Tico series?
No, that was just if you watch our video, it was just the wishful thinking of this. Basically, it was brought up. It's one of those situations where it's no different than when they keep making poor Alicia Silverstone think she has a career by asking her if she'll ever play Batwoman again.
Okay,
or Batgirl.
I just want to make sure
directors come out and said, "I think it's a travesty how the character was treated. I think she should have her own series." I would make that.
Yeah, I would, because if you're gonna make series about characters people care about.
Exactly.
And quite frankly, do exactly what you did with The Mandalorian. Take a corner of the Star Wars universe that has not been explored and explore it, do a deep dive.
Right.
Why, and you don't have to set it all in the same time frame. Let's see a lone Jedi on a quest. We haven't seen that yet. Let's see Samurai Jack in space, except with a Jedi.
Well, I'm thinking that kind of might be what Obi-Wan's going to end up being, but I could be wrong. We'll see.
And if so, awesome. I'm all down for that. I just don't want to see more failed movies. I really don't. I think that Disney should just, first of all, they need to let that contract run up and get Kathleen Kennedy out the door, but keep exploring corners of the Star Wars universe that we weren't expecting, and The Mandalorian is definitely one of them.
Right. Matt G sent us another $5. Don't mind some of the UK seasons being shorter because they're 45 to 60 minutes without commercials. Same for American cable shows. Yeah, some of them it all depends. I get both sides of the argument. I'm kind of in the middle. I want quality over quantity. It's like if you get to the point where the quality is going to start suffering because of the quantity. Look at Star Trek Discovery. Look at how much fucking money was put into that show. And how much that first season just dragged on, even with 15 episodes. I mean, I know that's a bad example, but okay, Big Bang Theory. That's even a better example, probably. Rosetta Allen sent us another $2 just because. Moi, thanks for being you. Well, thank you, Rosetta, for that. You don't have to do that, though. We keep telling you. And Nelson Shreda also sent us another $2, which is more likely Old Republic EU TV series or EU TV series. If you check out that one video that Andre did not too long ago here, I think it was yesterday or day before we dropped it on the main channel, he talks a little bit about the series that are rumored to be in the works at Disney Plus. So that will answer your question there. As far as the Old Republic, I have a feeling that's going to end up being what the next movie trilogy is going to be. But I could be wrong.
I think Old Republic, is a good possibility, but I'm against it personally, even though I know a lot of fans think that's blasphemy to say. But I say move forward in the timeline and move forward a dozen generations or so, and put the past in the past. Even though the Old Republic stuff, I know there's a lot of cool lore there, but guess what's going to happen? You start making Old Republic films, and people are going to say, but wait a minute, that's not how it went down, because in this book, that character does this, and this contradicts what this Sith Lord did, and this Jedi Master did. I don't want that. I don't want the fans to continue to fight each other over this stuff. I'd much rather see us move forward and cover new ground that Star Wars hasn't covered. And I think that The Mandalorian is a good step, but just keep going forward.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things I loved about The Mandalorian, and hey, Script Doctor, how you doing?
Good morning, everybody.
Good
yes,
morning.
it is morning as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I hear you. I slept most of the day too. The thing about this show, even with all the Baby Yoda stuff aside and all that kind of stuff, one of the things that really turned me on about the show was we got to see little things we normally didn't get to look into in the movies, like the world of the Jawas, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of neat. Like, that's the kind of things I would like to see more of in these kind of shows. I don't need a Casio keyboard show. We all know what happens to him. I mean, it's not important. I would rather see a character that we don't know hardly anything about, or a race of characters we don't know that much about, whatever alien race of aliens we don't know much about, however you want to put it.
Absolutely. I have my criticisms of The Mandalorian, but I still enjoy the show, and I love the fact that it opened up the world of Star Wars. And heck, my year, like that stuff I have planned out, I'm going to be pitching my butt off to Disney for a couple of shows that are in the same realm of The Mandalorian without being The Mandalorian, because I think there's potential there. And my goal would obviously to make each episode an hour long and a little bit more dense than what The Mandalorian was, but still a lot of fun and explorative to the universe. I mean, Andy Trecker's right. We want to see something new, but also feel respectful and within the established film franchise as well.
Yeah, like aside from maybe a Darth Vader show, you want a show where a character can motivate and move around the universe without worrying about anything in their story disrupting or having to necessarily react to anything per se. Or reaction's not so bad, but it doesn't have to worry about bumping into something in the movies.
A little bit more compartmentalized, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can still have this chance that Jabba the Hutt might show up.
Or any Hutt can show up. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean, though. I'm just saying there's an example of you never know that you could possibly run into one of these other ancillary characters that isn't necessarily Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to see, I mean, like I said, I love the fact that The Mandalorian does open us up to, like, we've never really gotten into a culture in Star Wars like this before, as far as, learning the way of the Mandalorian. Now, I know some people are kind of pissed that it's violating some of what they established in Clone Wars, but, that is what it is. I think that what they're doing is interesting, and what they're doing is definitely cool. I want to see the Mandalorian go up against a Force user. I mean, when they're talking about, wow, there are these people that can move things with their minds, that sounds pretty dangerous. I'm like, ooh, I want to see something happen here. And I'm hoping in season 2 we get to see some kind of Sith or something out there that he's got to take on, and it can open up a whole chapter to Star Wars that we didn't know existed in between the Jedi and the sequel trilogy.
Well, I predict that The Mandalorian is going to have a Jedi companion.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's very video gamey, and that's kind of how The Mandalorian's been playing out. Like, you have your mercenary, your crafter, your droid, your kid. You're just missing like either a smuggler or a Jedi.
It would either be like Luke or somebody we didn't know was still
a student, maybe a student that has to go on his own journey.
One of Luke's students, possibly, since it's in that time frame.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how far out of Return of the Jedi this is, but I don't think it's too far out, considering you still have like legions of Imperials and shit doing stuff. So I'm not sure how far into the future it is yet, but yeah. I mean, we've heard rumors about young Luke showing up in Obi-Wan. Now, I hope when we talk about young Luke, we're talking like 6, 7, 8, because I really don't want like damn near shit.
Yeah.
Unless you do a good job with some deep faking. And on the other end, yeah, I get it that Ewan McGregor is really close to her, about the same age that Alec Guinness was when he played Obi-Wan originally. But that does not mean you can't just make it only. My point is, make it 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. No more, no less. That's what I'm saying. It does not need to be that close to Star Wars. Keep it away from it.
I honestly think that my problem with the Obi-Wan series is that it's kind of trapped, because we know how Obi-Wan's story begins and we know how it ends.
It's the same with Casio Keyboard too. Yes, but here's the thing: what you can do with that. The best part is we at least have Ewan McGregor around, right?
Right. And I love Ewan McGregor, and don't get me wrong, I would love to see Ewan don the lightsaber one more time, but I also get very concerned about there's going to be no concern that he's going to die. If they bring in Luke, there's going to be no concern that Luke's going to die. So
I get that. I mean, and that was the same problem with the Casio Keyboard series, right? But here's the difference: we're a little bit more invested in this character, so anybody that he invests in, we're going to be just that much more invested in than we are, say, a Casio Keyboard series, because we don't give a fuck about anybody he's going to talk to.
That's true. And on top of that, the one story we haven't really been told, like in the new canon especially, is the walls that are built up between Owen and Obi-Wan. Like, there's a reason that Owen doesn't like Obi-Wan, so this could be the story it'd be a dramatic story, not adventurous, but like a dramatic, maybe a heartfelt story.
Well, not just that. I've been hearing it's going to be called Old Ben.
I heard that too. This morning.
So I have a feeling to tell us the story of why he called, not just because he's hiding, but why he calls himself Ben instead of Obi-Wan.
I think Script Doctor, is what you said there. I would try to build a show that it's like make it a buddy cop show, that Obi-Wan and Owen Lars have to go on a quest together, and they go through this whole thing, and by the end of it, basically Owen Lars respects him and everything, but he's like, but I don't want you anywhere near my nephew,
adopted son. Yeah. Here's the thing: is you really have to nail home with that is more so the fact of why this guy has an issue with him,
right? And
to make him go on some kind of quest with him like that, you would have to give it a good reason. So that means you'd have to put Luke in some kind of threat.
Saving the farm really would be the issue. Obi-Wan does something that Owen doesn't like, which saves the farm, but it really pisses off Owen, and that's why there's the whole don't go near him type thing.
What if the information of Luke's parentage is out there and they need?
That's what I was thinking. Is Luke's more in some kind of jeopardy? That's the only way I could see Owen being proactive in some kind of adventure with Obi-Wan, because otherwise he'd be like, "Fuck you! I'm not going on your Jedi mission."
Right. And it's clear that Owen knows
this bullshit. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I checked.
No, well, it's clear that Owen, from what we see in the original Star Wars, Owen definitely knows who Luke's father is, and is very concerned about the idea that Luke even shows any traits like his father.
Exactly. Well, he already knows that anyway, but yeah.
Right. And so that is, if out there somewhere somebody has the information on who Luke's real parents are, and Obi-Wan gets wind of this, Lars happens to have the necessary skills to extract information from wherever it is, and so they go together to try and get this information so that it never falls in the hands of Vader.
Well, it all depends on how well the galaxy knows the last name Skywalker, because Luke does not hide his last name from anybody. And
right, I was gonna say you need to have something in there to explain why you need to have like Obi-Wan go, "Why did you never change the child's name?" And Owen be like, "Out of respect for Shmi, and I never thought anybody'd find him out here in the middle of nowhere," or something like that. Just even if it's throwaway to that point, you got to have something, because by the time you get to the second film, you're like, yeah, George Lucas didn't really think this through as to why he would not change his name, but yet Leia was. I mean, more obviously, yeah, she's in the public eye. I get that.
Right. Leia's a public servant, but Luke was a farmer on a backwoods community that's even outside of the
address.
Anakin's home planet. Right in his own backyard.
Well, that's the funny thing to me is I could just see Darth Vader showing up and saying, "So, Owen, I thought I'd stop by and see how my only surviving relatives are." Brew?
Yeah.
They're not relatives.
It could be that somebody gives Owen. Okay, this is how you work it in there. Somebody gives Owen information that there's bounty hunters on their way here because they heard rumors that there could be a son of Skywalker.
Or a son of a Jedi, child of a Jedi would be more.
More so, it has to be son of Skywalker because it's Vader. It's got to allude to the fact that Vader might know that he has a son out there, and this is where he's at.
Well, then I wouldn't say son of Skywalker. I just say the son of Darth Vader.
Because they call him son of Skywalker in Empire, that's why I say that, because they keep referring to him as the son of Skywalker, like because even in Darth Vader's mind, they're still two different people in a way.
But the only time we hear that is in conversations between the Emperor and Vader. Nobody outside of that refers to Vader as anything other than Vader. Nobody calls him Skywalker.
Yeah, but
nobody should know that Vader's Skywalker aside from a couple.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what they're saying, they're looking, because Anakin Skywalker though is this famous general from the Clone Wars. Remember? That's why, like, okay, they're looking, and he's the son of a Jedi. That would be another reason why they're looking. Owen gets word of this, and he's like, "Fuck!" So who else can he turn to? He's got to go talk to Obi-Wan reluctantly and tell him this is what's going down. We need to figure something out to either, head these guys off or something to where they don't even get close to even realizing that Luke exists.
Sounds a little Terminator 2-ish.
Yeah, it sounds a little convoluted. You can make it a lot simpler by just Obi-Wan gets word and he's fighting off Vader.
Or you still have to be right away, but you can't get Vader involved because we know already that Obi-Wan and Vader never saw each other again until Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Fairly.
They say that again. I was but a learner, and well.
He didn't say, "Oh, and you remember that time on Mustafar, man, you kicked my ass." There wasn't that, and so they could say that. Well, Vader is still relatively inexperienced compared to Obi-Wan, and that's. I don't know. I would part of me would like to see an Obi-Wan v Vader, but the problem is no tension because both of them survive.
Well, that's the thing. My point is you have to be able to make Owen proactive in this situation. And you have, obviously, then through Obi-Wan and Owen, you bring in other characters that are expendable. And like I said, at that point, it still is a situation where you have to put Luke in jeopardy in some way, and you can't really have them find out that he still exists or even exists.
But what if, and because Chris Novell kind of gave me this idea, what if we find out that Owen Lars adopted a girl named Michael Burnham, and she was a better Jedi than Luke would ever.
Luke learned an adopted half sister,
and Luke learned how to be Luke through her, right?
I love how Alex Kurtzman calls her a half sister.
I know, that's the thing, and I had to keep reminding Andre of that too. I'm like, they're not half.
They're not step. They're just adopted. They're nothing.
Keep writing it as that's what I'm going to keep saying. I'm like, yeah, but it's not right, and it makes us sound stupid.
Yeah, you got to put in according to Kurtzman.
Unless you're going to say that. Yeah. Anyway, we got to get caught up here. Not a band account. $1.99. Love the Pooh Bear. We need young Admiral Haldo or Dr. Afra. #women. Actually, if you haven't seen our latest video over there on the main channel, I do tell you to check that out because you may be happy to learn that there is a possible Dr. Afra series in the works already. So, and then another one from Not a Band account, Anakin and Skywalker could be hero worship names. Yeah, well, that's what I'm just saying. It's a situation where you got to be able to get Owen proactive. I don't care how, but
this sounds just a lot like Buttons and Mindy, where Mindy is Luke wandering around oblivious, and Owen is like Buttons trying to keep Luke safe without him knowing about it.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing is you can't tell, and he's gonna be, you obviously you'll have a young, Luke going, "Who is my father? And why can't I know?" And shit like that. Or
but that's why I would keep it.
He's a criminal.
No, they are casting the young Luke.
Right. Yeah. If they cast a young Luke, I could see it like, for example, in the first episode, Obi-Wan comes and says, "Lars, we got to go." And, "Oh, look, there's little Luke. Hi, Luke." And then they go. But they don't bring Luke with them on the adventure.
This is going to be Star Trek Discovery, isn't it?
What I meant. That was never what I meant. If that's what you guys meant by Terminator 2. Oh, no. I was just saying that you have to be able to get those two involved somehow. And I could see that Owen would be more reluctant, but it would make him more proactive if he knew Luke was in danger and he had to turn to the one person he didn't fucking want to, and that would be Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And that's what I would
see that as if Luke was kidnapped or something.
Well, he doesn't have to be. Just the simple fact that if Owen were to find out that, Vader is looking for this Skywalker kid that might exist.
And they're at Mos Espa, which was Anakin's old home.
Yeah, or something like that. Like, yeah, there was a bunch of Imperial troopers looking, or even, you know, our bounty hunter or two. You could bring in one of the more famous bounty hunters, you know, or something like
Dengar. Let's do Dengar.
or any number, like, yeah, either one of them, or any of the ones that you see in Empire. That's what I was saying. Just any of them, you know, it doesn't matter. You can even have a couple of them.
Yeah.
You know? It needs to be a formidable enough foe for Obi-Wan to be able to come out. He's going to have to change his name because he's going to be traveling. That will make sense. So he can't go under, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's going to have to come up with a different name because he's going to be traveling and for some reason, you know. Like I said, you got to come up with the reasons for it, but you need to be able to cut it off. They're not going to want to be able to let these people even get anywhere close to Tatooine, is my point. It's because they don't, because because Vader really doesn't necessarily know much about Luke until like the Death Star situation. So it has to kind of be like a Fugazi thing at the end of it. Like, oh, it was nothing but a wild goose chase kind of thing when they report it to Vader at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of your last shots is, you know, it was nothing. It was just a bunch of hullabaloo, but there was this weird Jedi guy or something like that, you know, and there's something kind of hinting to Vader that he knows that Ben's still out there, you know. Anyway, the Fazman 93 sent us a £5 super chat. Owen should make a little orphan. And he jokes.
No, Annie.
So your mom died, eh? Yeah. It makes you an orphan, isn't it?
He is little orphan Annie. He is quite literally little orphan Annie.
Oh, and who's your daddy? Who is your daddy and what does he do? Oh, my dad's a killer. Oh, shit. And that sucked for Luke on like that in school day when you got to tell what your dad is. Oh, he was just what did he tell him his dad was? I can't even remember now because I've slept so long. It was like a spice miner or something like that. Or,
yeah, he's a navigator on a spice freighter.
Yeah, a spice freighter, yeah.
Wasn't that Chewbacca then? That was
kinda.
Luke is half Wookiee.
Michael Clark, a good friend of the channel. Thank you so much. Send us $2.99. Just saying hello and supporting the channel. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. You guys do keep the lights on here, especially since we're already demonetized. Probably because we got Annie Trekker on here.
Well, you know, I am a piece of crap.
That's hard to avoid.
Although it's funny, I got demonetized a lot for a while, but lately I haven't been.
Yeah, I think it was just because you had Auntie in your name, and then once you hit a point where you have so many subscribers, they stop worrying about that crap as much. And I noticed the difference between like what we have.
True.
Well, it is to a point because there's differences in things I have to deal with on After Dark compared to what you deal with yet Mecca compared to what we don't have to deal with on the main channel. Very rarely do we have to deal with bullshit on the main channel. So, like recently, one of the few things that we've ever had, like we finally got a copyright claim for the first time in a while, and that was for our Lisa Wilcox interview. And it was so random it had to be a bot because it's like copywriting like chunks of the video for like 15 minutes. It's like there's not even video in that 15 minutes. It's
that was a great interview, I have to say. Congrats.
Yeah, well, you know, and it doesn't get that many views, so it's more worth just like let them have the fucking money if they want it, you know. It's just worth it that we can say, yeah, we got to talk to Lisa Wilcox, and so did Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot more interviews coming up, guys, but that's the thing is nobody really watches them, so they kind of get put to the back burner all the time. So unless there's really something juicy about them. In this instance, though, we had some technical issues that caused this one forever to get up. And just kept getting pushed off, and yeah, it was just one of those.
Yeah, and then like everything happens where you have like a day, and then 20 news things break.
Exactly, you know, or you have a day like today where I sleep all day, and I probably should have been working on one of those set interviews. But yeah,
or like me, or I've been sick for 3 days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've been just sick as a dog and running fevers and everything else. So. Yeah, it's been one of those things. But hey, it's a new year, new fresh start. We got a lot to look forward to this year. We don't have any Star Wars to deal with outside of another season of Mandalorian and whatever else they drop on Disney.
Are we gonna start sprinkling in or start plugging and getting people aware that it's gonna be coming? Or
as far as the
So we're
Wednesday.
doing like a week over on.
Yeah, once a week now. We're gonna try and do a show over on Mechas. So we're gonna change it up. So we'll let you guys know what day we decide to do that. So you know to head over there instead of here.
And that'll probably be starting after a little trip, so towards the end of the month.
Yeah, it'll probably be near the end of the month. We'll let you guys know, and it also depends. Yeah, we got Picard coming up, and then also it depends on what Michael's schedule is too.
Right.
We've got enough testing ground to see if we want to keep going at 6 o'clock or just go back to our regular time. So we'll let you guys know.
How's that been going for you? Because I've been debating about changing.
Honestly,
early's been better, I think.
a little bit, but on Wednesdays it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. The only problem is just running up against other YouTubers usually.
Right.
It just depends on what day of the week it is, and that you can't really avoid. That's just
that's the problem these days. Is that since with YouTube, unlike a network, it's like everybody streams at the same time, and it's like I don't want to stream at the same time as Mecha.
It's not even that we're trying to compete with each other.
And for me, I just stream when I can, or when I have time, or when I feel.
Yeah, and it's not like a network like we're competing with each other either. We're all we're all friends, and I'll hop on to everybody's stream when I can, and so on and so forth too. So.
Well, and that's one thing, and of course, I know that with you guys, it's not a problem, but I always try to stress to the subscribers and the people that watch live streams, don't think that if two people are streaming at the same time that there's any animosity or anything like that, because I stream at the same time pretty much every day, regardless of if Mecha is streaming or Lore Reloaded or anybody else that I might be friends with. And so if Mecha gets 1,000 people watching her stream and I only got 5 on mine, well, that's fine. She's got boobs. I know. I understand.
Well, no, and we do our best to all try and kind of not. Right. It's not like we do it on purpose.
Yeah, we don't go out of our way to do it, but it's one of those things. If we do, it's not because of anger or malice.
No, it's never like intentional. For me, it's always like, I don't feel like crap today. I'm not having an anxiety attack. I feel good enough to stream, so I'll stream on those days. I don't like scheduling because then I feel pressured.
I do it because if I don't schedule it, I won't do it. And that's because I am a horrible procrastinator. I'd be like, I'll live stream in an hour, and then 6 hours.
Yeah, and then as far as our schedule, it's like pretty rigid as far as the main show. But yeah, you never know when certain things drop and other things like that. We always do specials and stuff like that. But yeah, we try to stay semi-regular because otherwise Rob won't show up. I'm just kidding. We got another super chat here. Oh my God, I had to say his name. He literally popped up right after I said
it. Me?
I just got done saying if we didn't have a schedule, you'd never show up.
This might be a good thing, Tom. Start saying other good stuff you want and see if that happens too.
It'd be if we did this, then I'd have $1 million and a hooker that's free. Nikki D,
free hooker,
and a big bucket of chicken.
A big bucket of chicken. Not free in a sense that just somebody else paid for it and I didn't have to. No, I'm just kidding.
Bob's discount hookers.
I'm not breaking any laws. I'm just getting laid. Did you guys hear Kevin Feige named Scarlet Witch the strongest Avenger now? It's backpedaling from Captain Marvel. Pushback on marketing. Nikki D, thank you so much for bringing that up because I have a feeling if that's true, which I'm assuming it is because Mecha brought this to my attention and I've been waiting to squeeze this in here. That's what she said. But CNN reported a student asked Marvel president Kevin Feige if there were plans to add more LGBTQ characters to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, specifically transgender characters. He said, yes, absolutely.
Oh, for God's sake.
In a movie we're shooting right now. That doesn't mean necessarily, it could be a freaking X-Men for all we know. But yeah, it could be anybody.
It's one of the Eternals.
Or the Eternals, I was going to say, yeah. But yeah, as far as what she's saying here, if he did say that, then that does mean they're backpedaling from Captain Marvel. And we've also got kind of a cryptic message from Chadwick Boseman that his time may be up as Black Panther. And we've been seeing a lot of weird rumors about Captain Marvel 2, haven't we?
Well, they're saying Captain Marvel 2 is going to not have Valkyrie as the love interest, like Brie and Tessa want.
Not surprised, yeah.
But they're going to give her somebody else. And people are saying, oh, yeah, it's going to be Jessica Jones. I'm like, I don't think so. But
Yeah, they're not going to cross over to the Netflix.
no, they're
Doesn't
not.
he
But
have
they're
a
like somebody
relationship
not
with,
in the MCU.
Doesn't Captain Marvel have a relationship with War Machine? At least at one point in the comics.
Yeah.
And they kind of hinted at that in Endgame. And which I think that the whole thing where everybody is like begging for LGBT stuff in movies, it's like, really just let it happen organically. If it happens, it happens. If it makes sense, it makes sense. But when you force it, it's going to come across as awkward as that kiss in Star Wars.
Exactly. Well, because if you actually think about the percentage of LGBTQ people there are in the country, it is overwhelmingly tiny.
Right.
It is like what, 0.5%. So to have, 1 out of every 10 characters to be representative of that demographic is
It would be
really,
1 out of every 100, really, if they were really.
Not only that, just getting them right so that they don't actually insult the rest of the audience or those that it's representing is also difficult, because there is still a relatively small amount of information that a lot of writers can actually nail even when they do their research on these types of characters.
Yes.
So you got to be careful.
And to put it in perspective, if you look at The Expanse, the first 2 seasons of The Expanse, they had a gay couple in there, and I thought they were very well written. It was very well done, and there was nothing offensive about it. And so yes, you can do it, but you have to make it organic and feel like it's just a natural part of the world, as opposed to, hey, look at Star Wars and there's the lesbians, and it's like,
yeah. But also, like, especially if you want to do, say, like a trans character, that whole life, that whole perspective is intimate to the individual. It's not the same as like a normal romance, where it has general rules that you can apply to any type of shell, so to speak. But like if you're trying to do something of a trans character, it's really hard to do that right and justify it. And when I commute into work for Toronto, I see about 10 or 15 new and different trans people every day, because there's a lot of them in that city. And whenever I do get the chance to talk to them, they all have a very different means and way of how they came to their thing. However, it's always the first conversation that they bring up. I usually just say, hey, it's cold out. When's the bus coming here? And then they volunteer that information. But yeah, it's so different. It's so random across the board. It's not as universal as currently as other areas. And when you're dealing with diversity, yeah.
And if you're going to do a transgenderism, I'm sorry, but you can't have that be a background character or even a supporting character. The whole movie would have to be about that. It's too deep an issue to have it be superficial. It has to be the focus of the film. And so I personally, I don't think we need to explore the issue of transgenderism in the MCU or in Star Wars. It's the wrong genre of film for that.
Yeah, I would agree.
About the closest thing I could see them do, like, for example, if you really want to get into transgenderism, how about you do, and heads up, CBS, here's an option for you. You do a serious look at the impact of being a trill, or something, and you get into that, and you spend an entire season dealing with the very real psychological issues with that. Because the problem is that to just throw in a character and say, hey, I used to be this, but now I'm this, that's not a character. That's just a description.
Yep. No, a trill is actually a great allegory for that type of thing, because especially if it's a new symbiote and it's gone into its second body.
Right. And it's like, and it's in a different gender, and everything feels wrong. And you could really get into, the idea of feeling like you are one gender trapped in another gender, because it would literally be true.
And then it's the reconciliation of that, which would be a beautiful story if it's done with like a lot of intelligence and thought. Yeah. I'm on board with that. That's a great idea, Andy.
All right, script doctor, let's pitch CBS.
Sure, let's do that. They might listen. Who knows what the spring will bring now that they're one company again.
Yeah, I'm so glad Viacom is the sole owner again, but we'll see what happens over time. But I do think that the Star Trek is really the place where this stuff should be explored, but it needs to be explored in a reasonable way, not in Discovery fashion where they just shove everything in your face. and say, look how awesome we are because we can shove all this in your face. That doesn't make it awesome. That shows that you're being very superficial.
And desperate too, because they're not giving it the thought and time and effort that they need to really explore all the potential of such a very, a lucrative idea.
Right.
I mean, everybody has struggles with identity in various degrees, but if you want to go in that area and be something a bit more specific, you have to give it the time. You have to give it, you have to do the research. You have to do the knowledge, and that's what I loved about original Star Trek and TNG and DS9, and to a lesser extent Voyager. They didn't really do much with that, but yeah, I loved it when they addressed deep, conflicting, and personal issues in this beautiful utopian type society of Star Trek.
See, they don't care anymore. They just want to have their little diversity checkbox, and they want their little brownie points. So they get their little pat on the back to prove that they're not Islamophobic.
I've seen checkboxes before. They're creepy.
It's the woke Olympic.
That's what really makes me sad about Discovery, is that first of all, it's pathetic that the one character you're going to center the show around is the most boring character on the show, and you look at what all of these other characters have been through on the show, and any one of them would have been a really interesting story if you had just taken it seriously and put some effort into writing it. I mean, you think about Stamets and what
effort's hard.
Yeah, I know effort is hard. But you think about Stamets and what he went through and all that, and you think about Saru or any of the other characters that are on there and some of the stuff they've been through, it's like, wow, that could be some compelling drama. But instead, all you can do is mention it, push it aside so that we can focus on how awesome Michael Burnham is. And,
so washed over.
Right. And it just cheapens it, and I don't understand that, because and this is coming from I'm a conservative Christian kind of guy, but I'm sitting there saying, why can't you give it some respect so that you can deal with the issue with some maturity? Why are you crapping over something that you claim to care about so deeply?
They lack maturity. That's why.
I fucking hate Star Wars. Tim Riggs, $5 super chat. Current year Hollywood is only able to do superficial. They are generally incapable of depth. The way they virtue signal is key evidence of that. That's right.
Oh. Well, big budget Hollywood, because there is more than it's the loudest and the largest stuff that we see that's very superficial. There are some little movies out there that are normal and actually quite entertaining. But yeah, the stuff that we see advertised mostly, that's superficial.
But I would even argue that's and I understand where you're coming from, Tim. I really do, because Hollywood. I mean, the very nature of the industry of filmmaking is a superficial industry. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you look at, I think, and where Endgame and Captain Marvel were kind of stumbled a bit, but if you look at the MCU as a whole, one thing that was really impressive about the first Avengers film in particular is that a lot of people were not excited over seeing the Avengers fighting the alien army. They were excited about Tony Stark meeting Steve Rogers. Even when Infinity War came out, everybody was talking about, Doctor Strange and Tony Stark in the same room. Holy crap, that's going to be awesome. Not because of their superpowers and the big explosions, but because of the characters that we've gotten to know. And so while it's true that a lot of Hollywood is pure superficial, I think the MCU demonstrates that you can make character first and make character matter. And that's what, and I can't believe I'm saying that. That's what the people that are producing Star Trek need to learn, when Star Trek was always about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just remember in the pilot of DS9 where you got Cisco met Picard and you're like, holy crap. Because we crave interesting relationships.
And the sad thing, and you tell me now, Script Doctor, is your name Script Doctor because you do write, or are you?
I do write, and I do stuff in Hollywood during the spring and summer months of the year. So yes, I do write.
This is something that I talked about a while back, but now I assume you've seen Star Trek First Contact, the one with the Borg.
Yes. Okay.
So there's a scene in that movie that everybody talks about. It's the one where Picard loses it, and he says, "The line must be drawn here," and he breaks his little ships and everything.
Yeah.
How much better a scene could you have written for that exact same scenario if instead of talking to Lily, the girl that they just met in that movie, he was talking to Cisco?
Oh man.
And the thing is, the opportunity was there because at the beginning of the movie, the Defiant was there, and they brought the excuse to bring Worf on. What if Cisco was on the Defiant with Worf? And what if the dynamic on the Enterprise over what to do was not a battle between Picard and his inner demons, but Picard and Cisco, a man who hates Picard because Picard was Locutus.
Not only that, you have two captains fighting over control of the mission. Even though Picard would be like the senior captain, you'd have Cisco who has his own experience and also has his own hatred for the Borg. There's a lot to play with there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
And so, but unfortunately, that's where I see the ultimate downfall of Trek was, even though the Kurtzman stuff has been crap, but with the Next Generation movies, they really just lost touch with what Trek was about and tried to make it an action franchise.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a bigger fan of the original series movies than the TNG ones. And because they just have more heart.
Yes. Yeah. So how does old man Picard feel about that? Is old man Picard here?
What? I was busy sleeping. Yes, that's what it was, sleeping.
Would you have liked to have talked to Cisco instead of Lily when you said the line must be drawn here?
Why?
Because it would have been a more dramatic and intense for both of you.
Sure, why not? Let it happen. I don't
There's
care.
someone else Picard would have rather talked to.
As long as there's boobs involved.
And Shakira.
And Shakira, I'm game.
Yes. Yes, that's how random we are around here.
I'm going to pat you on the bottom.
I didn't say that, but I did. That's weird.
I don't even know what goes on in your bedroom.
Then don't ask.
I'm surprised. Old man Picard was not excited to see Volkswagen's new Dune buggy.
It's all wrong. It's all wrong.
But it's a Dune buggy.
It needs to be a gas-guzzling fucking beast.
Oh. So you're not part of the green movement, are you?
Of course I am, but when it comes to dune buggies, I have fucking standards. Unlike you.
Okay. Okay. That's very.
I drew the line there, Shlomo boy.
Of course, he's part of the green movement. He smokes weed every day.
He does, doesn't he?
Man, I wish I was legal here.
Weed every day.
That did like a cool echo effect.
Yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, stop it. It's not legal here. You drive me crazy because I'm always in pain, so shut up.
How far are you from Illinois?
2.5 hours.
Yeah, it just became legal in Illinois.
Yeah, I know.
Where the fuck do you think I am?
And it's like, wow, a quick road trip to Illinois is sounding so good right now. The funny thing is, though, they've been talking about it, is that the Tennessee State Patrol is actually beefing up their patrolling of the border highways because they know that a lot of people are going to be making road trips to Illinois.
Oh, come on.
And so I tell you, it's funny because the people in Tennessee, well, some of the people in Tennessee are so paranoid about this. This actually happened. There was a in the county that I live in Rutherford County, they did Operation Candy Crush, in which they had a coordinated effort of sheriffs all across the county raid and shut down all these evil stores that were selling, wait for it, CBD.
CBD
and because the sheriff thought that was selling THC. He thought they were selling pot.
Oh God!
And in an they were doing the press conference after. They were like all proud about all these thousands of things that they've confiscated and all that. And a press person said, "So exactly what do you think people do with CBD?" And the sheriff of Rutherford County was like, "They're getting high."
No. Not CBD.
And they exactly, and they were trying to explain to the sheriff of Rutherford County that CBD is not a narcotic, it's not a drug, it's it's
You can buy it at Walmart.
right, and it's legal even here in Tennessee, and so they had to apologize to all the businesses they shut down and all this. It was just so bad.
I'm sure there's a bunch of lawsuits.
Oh yeah. And so it's funny though, because some people are so paranoid in this state about pot that I'm like, it'll never get legalized. But then Nashville is like, and
you got musicians in Nashville,
huh?
You got musicians.
Oh yeah. You walk through Nashville at night on a Friday night and you smell nothing but weed. So but Nashville and Memphis are also very progressive cities overall. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they carried enough to get the state to legalize. But honestly, I wish the federal government would just get off their ass and legalize it.
Well, it's this. I'm convinced of this. It's this thinking that, if weed is legal, now I'm not saying everybody, but if weed is legal, then the hippies win.
Right.
I really do think there's a big part of it.
But then why don't the Democrats push for it?
Well, there's other part of it is that if weed is legal, then it cuts into sales of all the arthritis medications and the other stuff.
Well, and that's where people like me get so frustrated, because as a person who suffers from arthritis, and I will tell you, it's bad. Like, I can't do anything without hurting, and when I can't take standard arthritis medication because of the fact that I had what's called a kidney infarction a few years back. One of my kidneys only operates at about 40% capacity. And so because of that, I can't take anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen and stuff, which is actually very effective for arthritis. And most arthritic drugs are based on anti-inflammatories because it's all in your joints. It's an inflammation in your joints. And so, but then we went to visit my daughter who lives in Oregon, and guess what? For a week, I had no pain. I slept through the night. I felt great for that week. So it's like, and I understand that, the pharmaceutical companies are what will really suffer if they legalize. And I know that both the Democrats and the Republicans have, are hip deep in the pharmaceutical companies. So, and it's
the reason it hasn't happened to this point, definitely.
Yeah. But it's just so frustrating for someone like me. It's like, because I can't, because now they want to crack down on narcotics. Oh, don't you dare prescribe that OxyContin because, it relieves their pain.
Yeah, prescription heroin.
Yeah. And so, so I can't get any actual legal prescriptions in my state because you can only, and it's actually in the state rules that you can only give like 2 weeks worth. And so, and you can only refill it once. And so basically you can get a month of pain relief. Like after you have surgery or something, you can get a maximum month of pain relief for a narcotic type drug, and then you are done.
Yeah. And that's so you don't get addicted to the shit.
Right.
And it's tough. OxyContin is literally heroin.
But here's the thing.
Yep.
And I understand, addiction is a real problem, but here's the problem with what they're saying. If you really want to prevent, abuse of these drugs, the problem is not in the people that get prescriptions and stuff and fulfill those prescriptions. The problem is doctors that will give it out willy-nilly. And the problem is people that steal the drugs and stuff. And that's already a crime.
Right. And sell them and steal them and all that shit.
But preventing people who can truly benefit from these drugs from getting it, all that does is increase suffering.
Yeah,
and
not to change the subjects here, but
sorry, I don't mean to go. I know.
No, go ahead and finish up your summit. Go ahead.
But that's why, and long story short, that's why I hate it when you say smoke weed every day, because I wish I could.
I know. Yellow Flash is in the chat. We're going to get to his super chat here in a moment. I sent him a link to that. Mr. Miles, chief engineer. I guess Picard's not too happy with you right now. So, just remember, I can talk to Tom and get rid of that wrench real fucking quick. I don't care. I want gas. I want gas guzzling engines. I want to smell it.
So what does old man Picard think of the Tesla truck then?
It's fucking amazing, but it's
doesn't run any gas.
amazingly dumb.
That's right.
And Yellow Flash sent us $2 and said, meet up with me at C2E2 February 28th. So if you're going to be at C2E2.
What is C2E2?
I
Sounds like a droid.
No, it's like a Comic-Con sort of thing, popping entertainment and movie and comics and shit.
Yeah. Chicago's not far away from me. So maybe
I would not be opposed to going if I'm not going to Vegas in a
February
couple weeks.
Yeah, February 28th.
We'll see. I'll see if I can, but
If I can
because
do
Chicago's cool because it has a guitar center and a Japanese grocery store like right next to each other.
yeah, if I can actually pull that off, then we can do something in person. So,
Chicago
see.
Music Exchange is out there. Chicago Music Exchange.
Well, we just booked the trip for Vegas, though. That's the thing. I don't know if I can afford two of them, especially with getting the flaggings and shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A moon buggy.
Anyway.
I like that. You're back, Mr. Childs. I don't care.
So moon buggies are also electric,
Just shut the fuck up. I'm an old man. I'm not in the mood for this shit.
Oh, Lord.
You can tell the live stream's almost over when all we can do is berate old man Picard.
Well, there was the John Boyega thing we never ever did talk about.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. How he's just kind of giving it to the Raylos.
Yeah, I think we brought it up, but we didn't. Yeah, we didn't really. Did we talk about that too last night? I don't remember.
I don't think we did.
What's going on with John Boyega?
Well, he's like giving it to the fans big time.
Somebody was taunting him about some picture he posted on Instagram, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you after Ray ends up with Kylo at the end," and he's like, "No, that's me realizing, or it's not about who plants the kiss, it's about who lays the pipe."
Oh, okay, yeah, John Boyega hit with backlash.
Yeah, they're all mad at him because they're stupid.
I actually have some audio of John Boyega and about what he thought about the backlash from Raylos, and this is what he had to say.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Really, I didn't know ass was
That's
that
a
shiny.
Fender.
Oh, okay.
Which one are we going to use here, Rob?
I don't know. Which one do we? Let the coin decide.
We've had a lot of people from the UK. It seems. Let's do the UK one. Why not?
Yes.
Independent. Here, I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Speaking of links, Yellow Flash, check your chat, your DMs.
Good.
Old man Picard never gets tiresome.
Of course not.
Good.
Star Wars John Boyega clashes with fans over disgusting joke about Rey's sex life. Rey's the most asexual character I've ever seen.
Is she even old enough to have sex?
I mean,
Now the question is, does anybody else care about having sex with her?
No.
Because it's nothing against Daisy Ridley's attractiveness, but Rey is just not. Yeah, she just doesn't do anything for me.
John Boyega has clashed with Star Wars fans over a disgusting joke about the sex life of Daisy Ridley's character, Rey. The actor made the crude joke on Instagram after responding to a fan who remarked that the death of his character's romantic rival in The Rise of Skywalker, might as well be the Rise of Skywalker, had enabled him to potentially date Rey. It's not about who she kisses, but who eventually lays the pipe. You are a genius, Boyega responded. Some fans, however, did not see the funny side of Boyega's joke. With one writing, "Bro, you're extremely disgusting and gross, also fucking disrespectful." In response, Boyega wrote, You obviously don't know the difference between a fictional world and reality. He added in another tweet, Ridley herself would recognize said difference, writing, Daisy knows she isn't the character. LOL. So, TBH, she doesn't give AF.
Oh, Lord. You know what would really rip their fucking little hearts apart is if in like a half a year from now, Daisy comes out like, oh, the real reason I left Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff is because of these crazy fucking Raylos.
Oh my God.
I mean, I've seen what they tweet. Did you see what they said to JJ? There's more of them. Well, we covered them last night.
It gets better. Another fan urged Boyega to stop tweeting as he is worsening his image. The actor wrote in reference to Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. In another tweet, Boyega continued to defend his joke, writing, I will say 500,000 times, 2 consenting adults can lay down whatever the hell they want. Yes, sensitive. Not yes, sensitive something. That's just yes, sensitive. I mean, you're still misogynist, wrote another fan, to which Boyega replied, and you're an idiot. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
The Attack the Block actor also spent his New Year's Eve posting a number of GIFs in response to the furor, including Joaquin Phoenix kicking the air in a scene from The Joker, and one depicting and one depicting the Hill star Lauren Conrad rolling her eyes. He later wrote that he wished to put the upset aside, tweeting, "We did good, Star Wars fans. Now onwards to 2020, where I'll quickly be on the dole." No, I had that part. Boyega recently denied that he called his Star Wars co-star Kelly Marie Tran weak for being hurt by social media backlash to her character Rose Tico.
There's no proof of that. Not only that, there's massive proof that she wasn't.
You're all worthless and weak. A pledge pin on your uniform.
Man. These are just like the idiot who got all pissed off about it. It's not our fault that they didn't pay enough attention to the original source material that 2 gay guys get attacked and murdered in the by the clown, and then they decided as their own little movement to ship the Babadook and Pennywise, and then got pissed because he killed 2 gay people in the beginning of it, chapter 2.
Wait, what movie was that?
I don't know it.
Oh, Tom, if you're not even going to tell me the name, come on.
Rob, get better internet. I figured
Like my shiny metal ass.
Might as well mix the 2 bits at this point.
But that's the big problem. People don't know what the difference between the character and the actor.
Right.
No, they don't. And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's like how many people, and I know, Kelly Marie Tran, say what you want about her, but a lot of people hated Kelly Marie Tran because they hated Rose Tico. And a lot of people, they really can't separate. They think Daisy Ridley is Rey. They think that, whatever their character is, that must be that person. And I'm sorry, I very rarely blame the actor for what I see on screen, because the actor is just doing their job and pretending to be who the director tells them to be.
Exactly, unless the director is the actor, then
right. Yeah. But then if you have a director, if it's like, written, directed, and starring, this person, well then, yeah, everything goes to that person. But as far as the actors, their job is to do what the director tells them to do.
Now, I will say that an actor is a poor choice.
Sure.
Like I did with, Ham Solo, because Anthony Ingruber was obviously the much better choice.
Yeah.
what we got.
Well, the better choice would have been to have not made that movie, but
true. I'm not gonna argue with that point.
Yeah. But the thing is that these people want to sit there and get angry at people for doing their job. That's like people that call up customer service and start cussing out the person because of what's wrong with their account or whatever. And it's like, you realize the person that you're talking to has nothing to do with what happened to your account, but people can't separate that. They seem to want to have someone to blame for everything, and that person needs to be whoever the person that's right in front of them is.
Yeah, it's far more emotionally charged as opposed to methodically charged.
Right, because most people, and I'm talking normies here. Most people have no idea who J.J. Abrams is, right? They just know, and so or who Rian Johnson is, or Kathleen Kennedy. But it's like, if you really want to get into getting mad about Star Wars, let's talk about Kathleen Kennedy. Let's talk about what Rian Johnson did to the franchise and basically ruined 2 movies with it. And but
I'd argue more than that, an entire franchise.
Well, I would say this. I think that the first 6 films are still what they were. I mean, granted, yes.
And I'm not even a prequel lover. I mean,
Right.
I like them, but I'm not a lover. I mean, I think they're very, very, very.
But but the problem is that what The Force Awakens, what The Last Jedi really did was, The Last Jedi itself was a bad movie, and it forced Rise of Skywalker to be a bad movie. There was no way Rise of Skywalker was going to.
Yeah, I think we kind of had that conversation last night a little bit, where we were saying it's really hard to judge the Rise of Skywalker subjectively or objectively without having to acknowledge everything that came before it with The Last Jedi, not in a sense of story wise, but because of, in a sense that, you know what I'm probably saying.
Right. You're following up a shitstorm of a movie, and you have to pick up where that movie left off. And they
don't even do it that well, because they don't even commit to the character of Kylo Ren.
Right.
Like he's in charge of the First Order at the start of, I guess, the Rise of Skywalker, but he's still not the evil. Like, why not just make him the evil? Like, what's wrong with that?
Honestly, I think that if JJ had his way, because JJ is a better director than what we saw out of Rise of Skywalker, and I think if JJ had his way, the movie would have been very much Kylo's movie. But I do think that Kathleen Kennedy wants it to be about Rey because she's the princess, So I really think that it came down from on high from Kathleen.
You could still have it be about Rey because she's the princess. You just put Kylo in the position of the Emperor with that giant fleet, those massive weapons, and then full conquering. I mean, Palpatine was superfluous. Like, if you're not going to commit to the villain that you set up in the first entry of your trilogy, even if he is like a pawn of Snoke, which who cares about that? Why even bother then? Like, Kylo's entire presence in the sequel trilogy is completely and utterly pointless. There's no contribution that character makes. As enjoyable as a lot of people like him, I guess, with his temper tantrums and his failing to beat anyone, and being able to kill an old man because he's held prisoner by a bunch of troopers, he doesn't really bring much of anything to the story. And
that's the part. I think the death of Snoke is what really ruined his character, though, because
it definitely didn't help. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was talk about, we're going to finish his training, and his training was, I guess, kill him like a bitch. What? We needed, because the setup with Snoke, I think that, if you look at what happened in the Rise of Skywalker, if Snoke were still alive, it would have been a lot easier to make Rise of Skywalker a better film. And if Snoke was as powerful as they made him appear to be in The Last Jedi before they took him out, he could have been a really formidable opponent to deal with. And him with Kylo basically being a rabid dog type of Jedi with his temper tantrums and all that. But they threw that away in The Last Jedi, unfortunately. And
they threw a lot away in that night.
Yeah.
Not just The Last Jedi, but like, Rey doesn't do anything in The Force Awakens. And the only thing she does, as technically in The Last Jedi, is lift those rocks to help the rebels escape. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, the only thing she does in The Rise of Skywalker is put 2 lightsabers together, paraphrase Endgame, and kill Palpatine. Like, those aren't really big significant things on the whole in comparison to what the original trilogy has.
Right.
And that's because there's not really much stakes established. So yeah, it was they lost at the start, and they just dug their self deeper and deeper with each subsequent film.
Yeah. And now the awkward part.
I'm just trying to find something. I don't want
You
to
have like a cool jacket to go with that pimp hat.
I should.
Oh, you should. You definitely should.
I'll work on that. I was looking for the I fucking hate Star Wars thing, and I keep having to ask Mecca for it because I can't ever find that. And she sent me the link like 20 times now.
You don't have that like favorited on a tab or anything yet?
Make it into sound bites. I told Rob.
Oh, cool.
I fucking hate Star Wars. I linked it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of these Disney fans are they're called like normie plus. I mean, they're kind of fans, but they're kind of not. They'll know some names, but they kind of don't understand the context of anything. Because that would be
They're Raylos. Here it comes.
He's a major Hollywood director.
It's unbelievable.
4 years.
Let's just come moving with me. What is this?
Oh, wow. Wait for it.
I fucking hate Star Wars.
And if you want to drink in their delicious tea,
Sorry, headphone user. Yes. I apologize.
I have a mug available from Teespring.
Yeah, right. Yes, check that out. There we got it.
I don't remember hearing that after any of the prequel movies. So
Yeah, I got to do some.
Forget
I got to get that and mess with it a little bit. I can maybe take out some of the background noise and stuff. Maybe we'll get that to really just. Yeah, I fucking hate Star Wars. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because they cheered.
Well, they cheered because they kissed, and then it's like no. Ah! They're freaking out because he dies. 4 years they waited. Oh, how did that feel? All you got was a kiss out of it. Oh, how does it feel? How does it feel to have what you wanted ruined and destroyed and taken away from you?
Well, they only had 4 years of it.
What's the difference? I fucking hate Star Wars. But we're the ones. They're literally screaming out like in a.
They're literally sending J.J. Abrams death threats over this shit.
They're doing exactly everything they say that we've done. Mm-hmm. Every damn last thing, only worse. They're doing it to the exact point. Yeah, this is bullshit.
This is them. This is your Star Wars fans, Kathy. Are you happy? These people. I can't even read these. When they're not threatening him, they're bitching about being in therapy because of it.
Really? The movies weren't even deep enough to even warrant such an effort.
I know,
right? Where is it? It's in the Data Racer tweet. Here.
Yeah, Data Racer's done a great job of collecting all these, by the way. We got to give them credit for that.
Yeah. Been crying for hours in bed at work at home. Probably gonna cry through my therapy appointment too.
For fuck's sake. You
Yeah,
know,
little rich bitch kid
Over-
whose parents pay for their goddamn fucking therapy. That's who this is for. These goddamn 28-year-old teenagers who live at home with mommy and daddy who can afford this shit. Because I guarantee you, if they lived on their own, they wouldn't have health insurance to afford therapy.
Captain Hare sent us another $2. Did someone say Raylo Tears video?
Yeah, I've got a few of them.
They're looking for a Rob's rant on that too. So I don't know if it'd be a rant. It'd be Rob just sitting there going,
Dress him up as the emperor.
like fucking Dave Chappelle for like fucking 20 minutes.
Gotcha, bitch. Tom, put this article up on the screen that I just sent and linked in the chat, in the private chat here. Just for a bit more context.
While I'm doing that, read that super chat real quick.
EVA Unit 4A, $10 super chat. There's a very simple non-EU and yet canon answer both Abrams and fans completely missed that could have kept Snoke in The Rise of Skywalker and not use Palpatine. 4 words: Darth Maul, survive Naboo. Hail, TFM. Just remember. Kathleen Kennedy says she doesn't need to cater to male fans. Okay? The people that helped build this franchise. And now you said you don't need to cater to male fans. And now look what you have. The very people you said not enough girls like Star Wars, and you built this around this new trilogy around this YA bullshit. And they turn up like a pack of rabid dogs.
Didn't Andre do it in his video, or one of us did? Between us and one of the others had to have said it. Wasn't it like 70% audience was male audience for Rise of Skywalker?
Yes, it was Andre. I think it was Andre.
Yeah, where's the women? Where's the women? Just like Andre said, more women went to see Rambo opening weekend than went to see Charlie's fucking Angels.
Yeah.
Tom, that's fake news. You're just a toxic man.
And we don't mean by just because it made more money. We mean statistically.
You're toxic. Toxic, I say.
But that goes back to the same problem: is that Kathleen Kennedy does not understand her audience. She thinks that Star Wars for girls means to fundamentally change Star Wars. No. She doesn't realize that girls have loved Star Wars all along.
I was just going to say, you know what this means? You know why it's so high on the male end now? Because they've turned off a lot of the female Star Wars fans, right, Micah?
They stopped going.
Yeah. I don't want this YA bullshit. If I wanted that, I would have watched Twilight, which I didn't want either.
Oh, come on, you love Twilight. You know it.
You know, it was a better love story than Star Wars.
You're softer than sand.
It was at least it was true to what it was and wasn't trying to be Star Wars.
See, it always gets up in my engines. I hate sand. So,
Tom, who's the chick back here with the purple like top?
I don't fucking know, but she's got sand all over and hardly anything else.
Oh, okay.
It was because it was just the shot it was in. I'm not good at that stuff. Here, let me see if I can.
Tom with the big pimp hat.
I might be able to bring this up without me even staring. Here we go.
Well, that's much better.
Well, I'm not.
Oh yeah, now I can see the sand.
Yeah, see, she's appropriately.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
You can put her on the hood.
I just look better behind me. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, she would look better in front of you. I'm sorry.
Shut up, Annie Trucker. She's not.
Sorry, I'm just speaking the truth.
You're a toxic man. How dare you exploit that girl for her looks?
I'm going to sit here for the rest of the show.
You look sad.
I am sad, baby Yoda.
50-year-old baby.
Poor little baby Yoda. The baby Yoda.
All right. I think it's time we probably wrap this up anyhow. I hope everybody's had a great first day of the year. Hopefully we have a lot of great stuff to look forward to this year, like Ghostbusters and Bill and Ted 3, possibly He-Man. Who knows what else, right?
I'm looking forward
There's getting 2 He-Man, right?
Well, there's the cartoons plus the Sony movie, yeah.
I think the interesting thing about 2020 as far as entertainment's concerned is that this is going to be the first year in a while that we've not had like massive amounts of big tentpole films that we're talking about years in advance. This is like, like Marvel is kind of low key right now. There's no Star Wars movie. And I think that opens it up to be surprised here.
Well, we do have Batman coming too. I forgot about that. Isn't that supposed to be here?
Yeah, but that's the Twilight Batman, so that doesn't.
Well, I know, but it could surprise us.
He's got sequence on his cape.
What is Batman? What does Christian Bale Batman think about this kid playing Batman?
Oh, you mean I know which Batman you mean. Hang on here. I gotta get Baby Yoda off this.
Freaking learning to
all screwed up thanks to you, Rob.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not your fault. Oh, man.
Learning disabled spot.
Aaron, Wonder Woman 84. I'm sorry. I think that looks like a train wreck ready to happen. The trailer on it, swinging from a bolt of lightning. I'm out.
Oh, the Wonder Woman thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written by the same guy who's writing a couple other Marvel films and not the Dave Callahan, I think, is, if I remember correctly. He's an okay writer, not a great one. He got in through a lot of connections that he knew, not on merit. So we'll see.
Nobody succeeds in Hollywood on merit anymore. Everybody just fails upward.
Well, you got to get in first before you can fail upward. Otherwise, I would be much more successful than I am now.
Okay. Oh, there he is. There's a Batman. What do you think of this new kid playing Batman?
Fuck that snot-nosed little brat. He couldn't even take on my left nut. He's what he's gonna do? Float around and sprinkle the Joker to death? That's bullshit. I don't buy it.
Okay. Well, what do you think of Zoe Kravitz as the Catwoman?
Swing.
Swing. Okay. All right. What do you think of who's playing Commissioner Gordon? Oh, the guy from Casino Royale, Jeffrey Wright.
I don't really give a shit about that. All I care about is why in the world would you get Edward to play Batman? Think about it for a minute.
Shouldn't Edward be playing the Riddler?
Because it worked so well with Star Wars, didn't it?
There's a certain logic to it if you consider. So Edward played a vampire. Vampires are kind of the inspiration for Batman originally, and they took a different.
No. In that movie, they come out during the day, they sparkle, and they float around. Those are fairies, not fucking vampires, okay?
Yeah, and in your third movie, you ran around in the day having a street brawl after breaking your back and fixing it in a month and a half and climbing out of a hole on the other side of the planet with no money and getting into Gotham City despite a barricade around the entire town. So what's your point?
Look, this is not about me. This is about Twilight Boy getting into my cowl.
Yeah, it's been pretty distracting because Batman over here, he hasn't even been able to help me with my issue with Bruce Wayne because he keeps parking in my spot.
It's because the fucking Batmobile takes up 2 spots. I can't help that. But no. And you know what happened there, Eddie Trekker guy, poop guy thingy? Like, I'm Batman, so my back is like super strong. I am the manliest man in the world.
Not stronger than Bane.
I can heal my own. Shut up.
Your back is not as strong as it should be.
Just be quiet. It's not funny. Just because he broke my back, I could heal it fast. I'm Batman.
Who's broke with a knee and healed with a punch.
I fucking hate you guys. And just because he's all like, ooh, I still kicked his ass in the end.
I thought Catwoman shot him.
You shut the fuck up and get out of here. Why does everybody gotta bother me on my show?
Not your show, Batman.
Oh shit, that's right. I'm supposed to be working. Why am I here talking to you dweebs in a basement?
Because
is this some kind of joke? Is this the Joker's work? Hey,
no.
I kind of like that outfit, poop guy.
It's because I'm Bat Turd. When something smells bad in the middle of the night, I am there.
You know, I don't normally team up with others, but there's something about you that makes me think we can make a hell of a team.
Batman, I'll be proud to be your number 2.
I think it's the silver. I like that. Maybe I should put some silver in my outfit. I wonder if Joe Schumacher's still available.
I don't know. Joe Schumacher and I have done a lot of work together, though.
He's very obsessed with nipples.
And poop.
Really? Really? I did not know that.
Like I said, I've worked with him a lot. He's crapped out a lot of things. A lot of big, loud things.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Let's go.
To the Pooh-mobile.
To the Pooh-mobile. Let's take the Batmobile instead. But I'm going to lay down a towel, okay? Don't be offended.
No offense taken.
All right, we're out of here. Bat shit, yeah. Bat shit. All right, that was good. All right, folks.
All right. Oh my God.
Because I'm the turd you need, not the turd you deserve.
But he's clingy like a turd.
Smoke weed every day. Hey!
Oh, shit.
All right, everybody. Tell everybody where Andy Tracker, tell everybody where you can find you.
Oh, well, at the channel Anti-Tracker. I'm right there all the time. So come on, hang out. You know, we do deep lore dives, we do battle breakdowns, we do live streams almost every day. We just have fun, and I'm a greedy bastard, so come on over and give me some super chat love, and you'll be my friend. Otherwise, you're not my friend because, yeah, I'm a greedy bastard. Yeah, that's about it.
Mecca?
I'm a greedy bastard.
Yes, you're a greedy bastard.
Okay, just making sure.
No,
Yes.
Sema G Z. I don't know how to say that. Semaj Z. No, that wasn't rehearsed. If it was rehearsed, it probably would have sucked more.
Yeah, much more.
Mecca?
What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. Yes, go ahead. We didn't give her theme earlier, so why don't we do that now, real quick?
Oh, it's all right. I'm sick, so I can't even turn on my camera. Watch my videos, or else.
Yes.
It's intimidating.
We got poop crawling around up there. That's all I know.
What's my Jaws theme?
Do check out Mecca's channel. She does all kinds of content where she comments on pop culture and genre entertainment and just other stuff in general, and does gaming and all kinds of things. And we're going to be doing a Midnight's Edge After Dark, I believe, at least once a week on her channel.
Yeah,
So,
starting towards the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah. Because I got a week off coming up soon, so because I need it.
Yes, I think we all do. That's why I slept so much today. I was just like, I was out.
I wish I could. I can't breathe though, so I can't sleep.
Well, yeah. Then there's seasonal allergies too and stuff like that.
I've just got a cold
and sicknesses and flus and everything else. So hopefully everybody's taking care of themselves and not feeling like shit like Annie Trekker here.
That's right. Make fun of my parents. They're crap shaming, man. That's not right.
All right. Well, speaking of Andy Tricker, why don't you tell them where they can find you real quick?
Well, I did already, but I'm an
You did already? Oh, sorry. Okay, Bill, the script doctor. Did you do it yet?
No, yeah. You can find me at youtube.com/C Script Doctor. I'll put a link in the chat. I do commentary reviews and outline rewrites of film and television. I'm going to be wrapping up Batwoman and The Mandalorian this month. I'll be taking a look at Picard when that drops, so stay tuned for that. And I've got an outline rewrite of Terminator Dark Fate, how I would have done it. And looking forward to the 1-year anniversary of Captain Marvel will be my outline rewrite of Captain Marvel, how I would have done it. So subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for that, because 2020 is going to be a fun year.
All right. And of course, we got some last minute additions to the chat here. Looks like Stephen Walton stopping in to say hey, and Sporking News Podcast, Scott over there. Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for stopping by. And of course, we want to say thank you to all of you out there for listening to us. And of course, for the super chats. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it's been an amazing year thanks to you guys. And hopefully things just keep getting better. Right, Rob?
Yes.
Yes, don't even take it or nothing. Just
of course.
Of course.
No, sir.
All right, everybody. Let's wrap this puppy up. Happy New Year. Prosperous, safe, healthy New Year, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Do I have the finger? I'm Krispy Kreme McDonald's.
You're all losers.
I like big Asian butts, and I can